The night air is still. A soft wind moves slowly across the wide, quiet land, brushing over the surface of the Nile. The water reflects a pale sky where the last light of day fades into a deep and gentle blue. Along the riverbanks, tall reeds sway with a slow and steady rhythm, whispering to one another in a language that has no words. In the distance, there are small homes made of mud and straw. Their walls hold the warmth of the day, releasing it slowly into the cool evening. A faint glow comes from oil lamps inside. Shadows move gently across doorways as people settle into the quiet routines of night. Some grind grain with smooth, patient motions. Some prepare simple meals. Some sit in silence, watching the fading light. And some think about death. Not in a loud or fearful way, not with panic or sudden dread, but in a deep, steady way that lives quietly in the back of the mind. Because in this land, death is never far away. It is not hidden, it is not avoided, it is understood, and yet deeply feared. The people who lived along the Nile long ago believed that life did not end when the body stopped breathing. They believed that something continued, something delicate and important, something that could be lost forever if not protected with great care. And so, death was not just an ending, it was a journey. A long, uncertain passage into a place that could be peaceful or terribly empty. This belief shaped everything. It shaped how people lived, how they worked, how they built their homes, how they spoke to one another, and most of all, how they prepared for the moment when life would gently slip away. The sun has now fully set. The sky darkens, and a soft blanket of night settles over the land. The Nile becomes quieter, its surface smooth like polished stone. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls once, then falls silent again. Inside the small homes, families lie down to rest. They close their eyes. But even in sleep, the thought remains, calm, quiet, and always present. What will happen after? This question is as natural as breathing. From a very young age, children begin to learn the shape of the world beyond life. They hear soft stories told in low voices, often at night when the air is cool and still. They learn that each person is made of more than just a body. There is the body, which can be seen and touched, but there is also something else, something lighter, a presence that cannot be held, a part of the self that must travel on after death. This part must find its way through a hidden world, a place that mirrors the land of the living, but is also very different. And this journey is not easy. It is filled with gates, with guardians, with long paths that stretch into silence. To pass through safely, one must be prepared, very carefully prepared. Because if anything is forgotten, if anything is done incorrectly, the journey may fail. And failure does not mean pain. It means something far quieter, something far more unsettling. It means being lost forever. The people do not speak of this fear loudly. They do not let it disturb their daily lives, but it is always there, resting gently beneath the surface of their thoughts, like the slow current of the Nile beneath still water. During the day, life continues with a calm and steady rhythm. The sun rises early, bringing soft golden light across the fields. Farmers walk slowly through the soil, their feet pressing into the earth that has been shaped by the river's floods. They carry simple tools, worn smooth by years of use. They do not rush. There is no need. Time moves differently here. The seasons are guided by the river, and the river follows its own quiet path. As they work, the farmers sometimes pause. They look out across the land, and for a moment they think of those who came before them, parents, grandparents,
ancestors whose names are spoken softly so they are not forgotten. Because to be forgotten is a kind of second death, and this too is feared. Not loudly, not with sharp emotion, but with a deep and steady awareness. Memory is important. Names are important. The body is important. Everything must be preserved somehow so that the journey after death can continue without interruption. As the day passes, the heat grows stronger. The sun moves slowly across the sky, and the land becomes quiet under its weight. Even the animals seek shade. Even the wind seems to pause. In this stillness, thoughts become softer, slower, more distant, and once again, the idea of death drifts gently into the mind. Not as something immediate, but as something certain, something that will come one day as natural as the setting of the sun. And so, preparation begins early, long before old age, long before illness. Even in youth, people begin to think about how they will be remembered, how they will be buried, how their journey will unfold. They understand that death is not a single moment. It is a process, a careful transition from one state to another, and every step must be handled with care. In the villages, skilled workers practice their crafts with quiet focus. Some shape stone, some carve wood, some weave linen into soft, pale cloth. Their hands move slowly, with purpose. They are not only making objects for the living, they are also creating things for the dead. Items that will be placed beside a person when they leave this world. Tools, food, amulets, small figures. Each one has a purpose. Each one is meant to help guide the soul, to protect it, to support it on its long journey. Nothing is random. Nothing is without meaning. Even the smallest object carries quiet importance. As evening returns once more, the land cools again. The same soft wind moves across the Nile. The same gentle sounds fill the air. And once again, people settle in to rest. The cycle continues, day after day, year after year, a calm and steady life shaped by the quiet presence of what comes after. And as the stars begin to appear in the sky, faint and distant, there is a feeling, not of fear in the way we might expect, but of deep respect. Because death is not an enemy, it is not chased away, it is accepted. But it is also taken very seriously, handled with great care, prepared for with patience and attention, because beyond it lies something unknown, something vast, something silent. And in that silence, there is a question that never fully fades, a question that moves gently through the minds of all who live along the Nile. What if the journey does not go as planned? The night grows deeper. The lamps go out one by one, and the land rests under a quiet sky, holding its ancient thoughts, soft, steady, and unspoken.
The night lingers for a long time. The darkness does not feel empty. It feels full, as if the air itself is gently holding the weight of many quiet thoughts. The stars remain still above the land, scattered across the sky like small, distant lights that have always been there and always will be. In the silence, the world feels suspended between two states, not fully awake and not fully at rest. This is the kind of stillness the ancient Egyptians understood well, because to them, existence itself was not a simple, single thing. It was made of layers, soft layers that rested on top of one another, each one important, each one fragile in its own way. They believed a person was not only a body. The body was only the beginning. There was also something they called the Ka, a quiet presence that stayed close, like a reflection that could not be seen. The Ka needed nourishment even after death. It needed food, drink, and care, just as it had in life. And there was the Ba, something more free, more like a drifting breath. It could move between places. It could leave and return. It was often imagined as something light, something that could travel across great distances in silence. These parts were not separate in a simple way. They were connected, gently, like threads in a woven cloth. And if one thread was lost, the whole pattern could begin to come undone. This is where the fear began to take shape. Not loud, not sharp, but steady. Because death did not only mean leaving the world behind, it meant holding all of these parts together in a place where nothing was certain. As the first light of morning slowly returns, the land begins to wake again. A faint glow spreads across the horizon. The cool air carries the scent of damp earth and river water. Birds begin to stir, their small movements breaking the silence of night. In the villages, people rise slowly. There is no rush. There is only the quiet understanding that the day will unfold as it always does. Yet even in these early moments, when the world feels fresh and untouched, the thoughts of what lies beyond life are never far away. They are part of the rhythm, part of the breath. A man steps outside his home, his feet pressing softly into the cool ground. He looks toward the Nile, watching as the light reflects off its surface. The river flows as it always has, calm, steady, unchanged. To him, the river is more than water. It is a reminder, a quiet symbol of movement, of continuity, of the way life flows from one state into another. But even a river can change. Even a river can dry or flood or shift its path. And so nothing is taken for granted. As the day begins, small offerings are prepared. Simple things. Bread shaped by careful hands. Jars of water or beer sealed with quiet attention. Pieces of fruit placed gently in small spaces. These offerings are not only for the living, they are also for those who have already made the journey. Because the dead are not gone, they are present in a different way, close but not seen, and they still need care. Without it, they may become restless. Without it, their journey may become uncertain. This is another quiet fear, not only for oneself, but for loved ones, for those who have already crossed into that distant place. Because if they are not remembered, if they are not given what they need, their existence may begin to fade, slowly, silently, like a voice that becomes softer and softer until it can no longer be heard. As the sun rises higher, the warmth returns to the land. Shadows shorten, the air becomes still again. In workshops near the edges of the village, artisans begin their work. Their movements are slow and practiced. They carve shapes into stone, careful, steady lines that take form over many days. They shape figures that will stand beside the dead, silent companions meant to serve in the afterlife. These figures are not small, but they carry great meaning. They are not decorations, they are helpers. Because in the world beyond death, there is still work to be done, fields to tend, tasks to complete, and no one wishes to face that labor alone. So these figures are made, patiently, with the hope that they will awaken when needed. Nearby, linen is woven into long strips, soft, pale cloth that will one day wrap around a body, layer upon layer, carefully placed, not in haste, but with intention. Because the body must remain whole, it must be preserved, protected from decay, protected from time. If the body is lost, the connection between the Ka and the Ba may weaken, and if that connection is broken, the journey may fail. This is one of the deepest fears. Not pain, not darkness, but disconnection, the slow unraveling of the self.
As the hours pass, the work continues in silence. Each person understands their role. Each action has purpose. And though the tasks may seem simple, they are part of something much larger, a preparation that stretches beyond a single lifetime. Back in the homes, families move through their daily routines. Meals are shared quietly. Water is carried from the river. Children play in the dust, their laughter soft and brief. And even in these small, ordinary moments, the future is always present. Parents teach their children not only how to live, but how to be remembered. They teach them the importance of names, of words, of respect. Because one day, those children will stand in their place, and they will be the ones who remember or forget. As afternoon fades into evening once more, the light softens again. The heat lifts slowly from the ground. The wind returns, gentle and cool, and once again the land begins to quiet. There is comfort in this cycle, a steady rhythm that does not change. But within that comfort, there is also a quiet urgency, because life is temporary and preparation takes time, a great deal of time. Some begin building their tombs while they are still strong and healthy. They choose the location carefully. They plan the space. They think about what will be placed inside, not in a rushed way or fearful way, but in a calm, deliberate manner, as if preparing a home that must last forever. Because the tomb is not only a resting place, it is a doorway, a place where the living and the dead remain connected, where offerings can be given, where names can be spoken, where memory can continue. Without this connection, the fear grows deeper, because to be cut off, to be alone in that vast, unseen world, is something no one wishes to face. The sky darkens once more. The first stars appear, just as they did the night before. Nothing seems to have changed, and yet, with each passing day, the journey draws closer. Quietly, steadily, like the slow movement of the Nile. And in the stillness of night, as the world rests once more, the ancient Egyptians hold on to a single gentle hope, that when their time comes, everything will be ready, that every word will have been spoken correctly, that every object will be in its proper place, that every part of the self will remain whole, so that the journey, long and silent, will not be faced in confusion, but in peace. A soft wind moves across the land again. The lamps fade, and the quiet thoughts return, settling gently into the darkness, where they wait, patient and unchanged.
The darkness softens as another morning slowly begins. There is no sudden change, only a gradual shift, as the deep blue of night becomes pale and the outlines of the land return, one gentle shape at a time. The Nile is the first to catch the light. Its surface glows faintly, like something waking from a long and quiet dream. Along its banks, the earth feels cool beneath bare feet. A thin mist rises from the water, drifting slowly over the reeds and low grasses. It moves without sound, without urgency, as if time itself has slowed. In these early moments, before the day fully arrives, the world feels closer to something unseen. This is a time when thoughts move inward, softly, carefully. It is also a time when the boundary between life and what comes after feels thinner, not visible, but sensed. The ancient Egyptians believed that this boundary was not fixed. It could shift, gently, like the surface of water when touched by wind. And because of this, the living and the dead were never truly separated. They existed beside one another, in different forms, in different states, but always connected. This idea brought comfort, but also a quiet and steady concern, because if the connection was not maintained, it could fade, and if it faded, the dead might wander, not with anger, not with noise, but with a kind of quiet absence, a presence that no longer knew where it belonged. As the sun rises higher, the mist begins to disappear. The land returns to its familiar shape. Voices begin to carry through the air, low and calm, never hurried. The sound of grinding grain returns, steady and rhythmic. The movement of water jars, lifted and set down, creates soft, repeating sounds. Everything feels known. Everything feels in its place. Yet beneath this calm surface, there is always the understanding that order must be protected, because without order, everything begins to slip. This idea of order was central to how the ancient Egyptians saw the world. They believed in a natural balance, a quiet harmony that held everything together. The rising of the sun, the flowing of the Nile, the changing of the seasons, the beating of the human heart, all of it was part of a greater pattern. And death was also part of that pattern, but only if it happened correctly, only if the transition was smooth, only if the proper steps were followed with care. If something went wrong, if the balance was disturbed, then the journey after death could become uncertain, and uncertainty was deeply unsettling. In a shaded area near the village, a group of workers sit together. Their hands are stained with oils and resins. Before them lies a body, still, silent, and carefully placed. There is no rush in their movements, no sign of distress, only quiet focus. They begin their work with steady hands, following steps that have been passed down through many generations. Each motion is slow and deliberate, guided by memory and tradition. This is the beginning of preservation, the process that will protect the body from time. Because the body must remain, it must endure, not as it was in life, but as a stable form, something that can still be recognized, something that can still serve as an anchor. Without the body, the Ka may have nowhere to return. Without the body, the Ba may drift without direction. And this is a thought that brings a deep, quiet unease. So the work continues, carefully, patiently. The body is cleaned with water from the Nile, poured slowly as if in a gentle ritual. The scent of natural oils fills the air, soft, earthy, and calm. There is no loud instruction, no sudden movement, only the steady rhythm of practiced hands. Days will pass in this work, many days, because nothing is done quickly. Time itself becomes part of the process, each moment layered upon the next, building something that must last beyond the reach of decay. Outside, life continues as it always does. Children walk along narrow paths, their steps light and untroubled. They carry small bundles, learning early the simple tasks that shape daily life. Their voices are soft, their laughter brief and gentle. They are not shielded from the presence of death. They grow up beside it. They understand it in a way that is calm and natural, not as something sudden, but as something that must be prepared for, slowly, over time. An elder sits near the doorway of a home, watching the movement of the village. Their face is lined with years, their eyes steady and thoughtful. They have seen many seasons, many harvests, many departures. They know the importance of readiness. They know the cost of neglect. And so they speak, sometimes quietly, to those who will listen.
They speak of names that must be remembered, of offerings that must be given, of words that must be spoken correctly at the right time. Because words carry weight. They are not only sounds, they are guides, keys, paths through unseen places. In the journey after death, the right words can open gates. The wrong words or silence can leave one standing still, unable to move forward. This is another layer of fear, subtle but persistent. The fear of forgetting, the fear of not knowing what must be said. As the sun reaches its highest point, the land becomes still again. The heat presses down gently and movement slows. Even the workers pause, resting in the shade, their hands still. In this quiet, the mind drifts. Thoughts move slowly like the river itself. And once again, the idea returns. The journey, long, silent, uncertain. A path that must be walked alone, yet guided by everything prepared in life. As afternoon fades, the work resumes. The body is wrapped in linen, layer after layer, each strip placed with care. Amulets are added between the folds, small objects with quiet power, meant to protect, to guide, to strengthen. Each one has its place. Each one serves a purpose. Nothing is random. Nothing is forgotten. Or at least, that is the hope. Because even with all this care, there is no complete certainty. And that uncertainty lingers, soft but present. As evening returns once more, the sky begins to change again. The light softens, the air cools. The long shadows stretch across the ground, reaching slowly towards the river. The day comes to a close, just as it always does. But for some, this day marks a transition, a movement from one state into another. The body, now prepared, rests quietly. The final steps will follow. Ceremonies, words, placements, all done with the same steady attention, all done with the hope that everything will align just as it should. As the first stars appear once more, the village grows quiet again. The cycle continues, endless, unchanging. And within this cycle, the ancient Egyptians hold their understanding close, that death is not the end, but it is not simple either. It is a passage that must be carefully guided, a delicate balance that must be maintained. Because beyond the familiar world of river and sky, there is another place, a place of shadows and silence, a place where the self must remain whole or risk being lost. The wind moves softly across the land. The Nile flows without sound, and the thoughts of the people settle once more into the quiet of night, steady, patient, and always aware of what lies ahead.
The night deepens slowly, as it always does. There is no sharp edge between evening and darkness. The light simply fades, gently, until the land is wrapped in a soft, quiet stillness. The river becomes almost invisible now, blending into the surrounding shadows, its movement sensed more than seen. The air is cooler. The sounds are fewer. Even the smallest movements feel softened, as if the world itself is resting. Inside the homes, people lie close to the ground, their breathing slow and even. The warmth of the day lingers faintly in the walls, but the cool of night has begun to settle in. In this quiet, dreams begin. And for the ancient Egyptians, dreams were not separate from reality. They were not dismissed. They were not ignored. They were understood as something meaningful. a place where the boundaries between worlds could gently open, a place where messages could pass through. Sometimes, in dreams, the dead would appear, not as frightening figures, not as shadows to be feared, but as familiar presences, calm, silent, watching, or speaking in soft, unclear ways. These dreams were not taken lightly. They were remembered, thought about, sometimes shared in quiet conversation the next morning, because they could be signs, small, subtle indications that something was either in balance or not. If a dream felt peaceful, it brought comfort. If it felt unsettled, it created a quiet concern, another layer of awareness, another reminder that the connection between life and death was always present, even in sleep. As the hours pass, the stars move slowly across the sky. Their steady motion reflects something deeper, a sense of order that extends far beyond the earth. The ancient Egyptians looked to the sky not only for beauty, but for understanding. They saw patterns, cycles, consistency. The stars rose and set just as the sun did. They followed paths that never seemed to change. And this gave a sense of reassurance, because if the heavens remained ordered, perhaps the journey after death could follow a similar path. Perhaps it too could be guided, but only if one knew the way. As the first light of dawn approaches once more, the stars begin to fade. One by one, they disappear into the growing brightness. The world returns to its familiar form. Yet something of the night remains, a quiet memory of stillness, of reflection, of unseen presence. In a small open space near the edge of the village, preparations are underway. A group has gathered. Their movements are slow, respectful. There is no rush, no loud voice, only the quiet understanding that each action matters. At the center lies the prepared body, wrapped carefully in linen. The layers are smooth, even, and pale in the early light. Small shapes beneath the fabric hint at the amulets placed within, silent protectors, resting close. Nearby, objects have been arranged, jars of food, simple tools, personal items, each one chosen with care, each one intended to serve a purpose beyond this life. The people move around these objects with calm attention, adjusting small details, ensuring that everything is in its proper place. Because placement is important, position is important. Even the direction one faces can hold meaning. Nothing is left to chance. An elder steps forward. Their movements are slow, steady. They begin to speak. The words are soft, measured, and deliberate, each one carefully chosen, each one spoken in a rhythm that has been preserved through many generations. These are not ordinary words. They are not casual speech. They are part of a greater structure, a sequence that must be followed. Because in the journey beyond life, words are not only expressions, they are tools. They shape the path. They open doors. They allow passage through spaces that would otherwise remain closed. The listeners remain still. They do not interrupt. They do not shift. They understand that even a small disruption could disturb the flow. And so the words continue, calm and steady, carried softly into the morning air. As they are spoken, there is a shared hope, a quiet collective wish that everything is being done correctly, that nothing has been forgotten, that nothing has been misplaced. Because the consequences of error are not immediate, they are not visible, but they are deeply felt. The fear is not of punishment, not in the way one might expect. It is the fear of imbalance, of disconnection, of a journey that does not reach its destination.
As the ceremony continues, the sun rises higher. The light grows warmer. Shadows begin to form again, stretching gently across the ground. The world resumes its familiar rhythm even as this moment unfolds. Life and death, side by side, not separate, not opposing, but intertwined. The body is lifted carefully, moved slowly, each step taken with attention. There is no haste, no urgency, only the quiet awareness that this is a transition, one that must be handled with care. As the procession moves toward the burial place, the land stretches out around them, wide, open, and still. The desert lies beyond, vast and silent, its surface untouched except by wind. This is where many are laid to rest, in spaces carved into the earth, in structures built to endure, places where the body can remain undisturbed, protected, preserved, because time itself is something to be guarded against. Time erodes, time fades, time forgets, and forgetting is one of the deepest fears of all. The tomb is entered. The air inside is cooler still. The light is dim. Walls may hold carvings, simple or detailed, telling quiet stories of life, scenes of work, of family, of daily routines. These are not decorations, they are reminders, anchors, ways of holding on to identity, so that even in death the self remains known. The body is placed carefully within. The objects follow, each one arranged with intention, each one positioned as it should be. The final words are spoken, soft, measured, complete. And then, slowly, the space is sealed, not with finality, but with a sense of quiet continuation, because this is not the end, it is the beginning of something else, something unseen, something that will unfold in silence. As the people leave the tomb, they do not rush away. They walk slowly. They carry the moment with them. And though the work has been done, the preparation completed, the feeling remains, a gentle, lingering awareness. Because even with all this care, all this attention, all this tradition, there is still no absolute certainty. And so, as the day continues and life returns to its steady rhythm, the ancient Egyptians hold on to what they can. Memory, ritual, order, connection. They repeat these things again and again, not out of habit, but out of necessity. Because in their world, to prepare for death is to protect life beyond it. And to neglect that preparation is to risk something far deeper than loss. The sun moves across the sky once more. The river flows as it always has. And beneath the surface of every quiet moment, the awareness remains, soft, steady, unchanging, that the journey after death is long and must never be taken lightly.
The day stretches on in a slow and gentle rhythm. After the quiet closing of the tomb, life does not pause for long. The village returns to its familiar movements, as if guided by something steady and unseen. The same paths are walked, the same tasks are carried out, the same soft sounds rise into the warm air. And yet, something has shifted, not in a way that can be clearly seen, but in a way that can be felt. A subtle awareness settles into the space left behind, a quiet recognition that someone has begun their journey into a different kind of existence. In the hours that follow, the name of the one who has passed is spoken softly, not loudly, not often, but carefully, because names hold power. They're more than simple sounds.
They are a way of keeping a person present, even when the body is no longer part of the living world. To speak a name is to remember, and to remember is to sustain. Without memory, the connection weakens. Without connection, the self may begin to fade. This understanding lives quietly within each person, shaping the way they move through their days. A woman kneels near a small space within her home. Before her are simple offerings, a piece of bread, a small bowl of water. She places them carefully, adjusting their position with gentle hands. There is no ceremony here, no gathered crowd, only a quiet act of care. She pauses for a moment. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she speaks a name. The sound lingers in the air, soft and steady. It is not a call, it is not a plea, it is a continuation, an acknowledgement that the bond has not been broken, only changed. Outside, the sun begins its slow descent. The light softens once more, stretching across the land in long, quiet lines. The heat begins to lift, and the air carries a faint sense of relief. In the distance, the Nile reflects the changing sky. Its surface shifts from bright gold to deeper tones, moving gently with the current. The river remains constant, a steady presence, a quiet reminder that life continues even as it transforms. For the ancient Egyptians, this continuity was comforting, but it also brought a certain pressure, because if life continues after death, then the state of that life matters deeply. It is not enough to simply exist. One must exist well, in balance, in harmony. And achieving that balance requires effort, not only during life, but beyond it. As evening approaches, a group gathers once more, this time not for burial, but for remembrance. They sit together in a shaded area, their voices low, their movements unhurried. There is no formal structure, no strict order, only shared presence. Stories are spoken, simple memories, small details of a life that was once lived among them, the way a person walked, the way they worked, the way they spoke certain words. These details are not grand, they are not dramatic, but they are important because they preserve the shape of a person, they keep the memory clear, and in doing so, they help maintain the connection that must never be lost. As the stories are shared, there is a gentle rhythm to the conversation. Voices rise and fall, pauses stretch comfortably between words. Silence is not avoided, it is welcomed, because silence too holds meaning. It allows space for thought, for reflection, for quiet understanding. In this shared stillness, the presence of the one who has passed feels close, not visible, not defined, but near. And this nearness brings both comfort and a subtle unease, because closeness must be maintained, it must be nurtured. Without care, it can fade. And so remembrance becomes a daily act, not always spoken, not always visible, but always present. As night returns once more, the stars begin their quiet appearance in the sky. They seem unchanged, steady, endless. Their light travels across vast distances, reaching the earth in silence. To the ancient Egyptians, this quiet persistence held meaning. They saw in the stars a reflection of endurance, of something that continues beyond what can be easily understood. And they hoped, in a calm and steady way, that their own existence might follow a similar path, that they too might continue, quietly, steadily, without fading. But this hope was always accompanied by a careful awareness, because continuity was not guaranteed. It had to be earned, protected, sustained. And this is where the deeper layers of fear begin to settle. Not the fear of the moment of death itself, but the fear of what might happen after. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of losing form. fear of drifting without direction, without connection. As the night deepens once more, the village grows still once more. The sounds of movement fade, the lamps are extinguished, and the land returns to its quiet state. Inside the homes, people rest, but their rest is not empty. It is filled with a quiet understanding that life is part of something larger, something that extends beyond what can be seen or touched. And within that understanding, there is a constant, gentle effort to live in a way that prepares for what comes next, to act in ways that maintain balance, to speak words that will be remembered. Because every small action carries weight, every choice becomes part of the path that will one day be walked. And as sleep slowly takes hold, the thoughts soften, they drift, they settle, but they do not disappear. They remain just beneath the surface, like the steady flow of the Nile beneath the stillness of night. A quiet awareness, a calm, unspoken truth, that death is not an end to be ignored. It is a passage to be prepared for, with care, with patience, and with deep respect. The stars continue their silent movement across the sky. The river flows without interruption, and the ancient land rests once more, holding its memories, its rituals, and its quiet, enduring concerns about the journey that lies beyond.
The night slowly releases its hold on the land. A faint light begins to gather at the edge of the horizon, soft and pale, like a quiet promise of another day. The stars fade gently, one by one, until only the widest sky remains. The Nile reflects this change before anything else. Its surface shifts from darkness into a muted glow, as if it is remembering the light before the land does. Along the riverbank, the air is cool and still. A thin layer of dampness rests on the earth, and each step leaves a soft impression that will soon disappear under the warmth of the rising sun. This quiet beginning feels familiar. It feels safe. And yet, within this calm, there is always the presence of something deeper, something that cannot be seen, but is always understood. The ancient Egyptians believed that beyond the moment of death, there was a long and careful judgment, not a sudden decision, not a loud declaration, but a process, measured and deliberate, a weighing, a balancing. As the day begins, a young man walks slowly along the edge of the fields. His hands are empty, his steps unhurried. He pauses from time to time, looking out across the land as it awakens. He has heard the teachings since childhood. He knows what awaits beyond life, not in detail, not with complete clarity, but in a way that feels steady and certain. There will come a moment when the heart is examined, not the physical heart that beats within the chest, but something deeper, something that holds the truth of a person's life. Every action, every word, every intention, all of it rests there, quietly, without judgment during life, but not forgotten. And when the journey begins, this heart will be weighed, placed carefully upon a balance. On the other side, something pure, something light, a measure of truth. And if the heart is heavy, if it carries too much that disturbs the balance, then the outcome becomes uncertain. This is not a fear of punishment in the way one might expect. It is a fear of failing to remain whole, of being unable to continue, of reaching the threshold but not being able to pass through. As the sun rises higher, the village comes alive once more. The same routines unfold, the same quiet tasks. But beneath them, this understanding shapes behavior in subtle ways. People are careful with their words. They avoid harshness when they can. They try to act with fairness,
with calm, with respect. Not perfectly, but with intention. Because each moment contributes to the balance, each action leaves a trace, and these traces gather, slowly, forming the weight that will one day be measured. In a shaded space near the center of the village, an elder sits with a small group of listeners. Their voice is soft, steady, and unhurried. They speak of the journey beyond life, not in frightening terms, but with quiet seriousness. They describe the long path, the gates that must be passed, the guardians who stand watch, silent and unmoving. They explain that each gate requires knowledge. Names must be spoken. Words must be remembered, not guessed, not changed, but spoken as they have always been spoken. Because in that place, precision matters, and forgetting, even something small, can bring stillness, a pause that cannot be easily overcome. The listeners remain still. They do not interrupt. They absorb each word slowly, as if placing it carefully within their memory. Because one day, these words will not be stories, they will be needed. As the hours pass, the sun reaches its height once more. The heat settles over the land. The air grows quiet. Even the birds seem to rest. In this stillness, the idea of the weighing returns, the balance, the careful measure of a life. It is not something that can be changed at the last moment. It is built slowly, over years, through countless small choices. And this creates a different kind of awareness, a quiet responsibility, not driven by urgency, not driven by fear alone, but a steady understanding that life and what follows it are deeply connected. As afternoon fades, the wind returns. It moves gently across the fields, carrying with it the scent of earth and water. The shadows begin to stretch again, long and soft. A woman walks toward the river, carrying a small vessel. Her steps are slow, her posture calm. She kneels at the water's edge, filling the vessel carefully. For a moment, she pauses. She looks at her reflection in the surface of the Nile. It shifts slightly with the movement of the water, never fully still. She watches it, quietly, as if considering something beyond the image itself. Because the self is not only what can be seen, it is something deeper, something that must remain intact even when the visible form is gone. This thought is not unsettling in a sharp way. It is simply present, always. As evening approaches once more, the sky softens into warm tones. The light becomes gentler, the heat fades, and the village begins to slow. Small fires are lit, simple meals are prepared. The quiet rhythm of daily life continues. But now there is a deeper layer beneath it, an awareness of judgment, of balance, of the careful measurement that awaits. And this awareness does not bring panic, it brings stillness, a kind of inward reflection, a quiet effort to remain aligned with what is right, what is balanced, what is true. As night returns once more, the stars appear again. They take their places in the sky, steady and unchanging. The same patterns, the same quiet order. And beneath them, the people rest once more. Their thoughts soften as sleep approaches. But even in rest, the understanding remains that one day each of them will walk that path. Each of them will stand before the balance. Each of them will carry the weight of their own life. And in that moment, there will be no noise, no distraction, only stillness, only truth. The wind moves gently across the land. The Nile flows without pause, and the quiet thoughts of the ancient world settle once more into the darkness, steady, patient, and always aware of what lies ahead.
The quiet of night stretches on, unbroken and deep. There is a softness to it, a gentle stillness that settles over the land like a thin, unseen layer. The air feels cooler now, and each sound, no matter how small, seems to travel farther in the silence. A faint breeze moves across the Nile. Its surface shifts in slow, delicate patterns, catching fragments of starlight that shimmer and fade without a sound. The river does not rest. It never rests. Even in darkness, it continues its quiet journey, steady and certain. In many ways, the ancient Egyptians saw something of themselves in this movement, a continuous flow, a passage from one state to another, never fully stopping, only changing form. And yet, unlike the river, the human journey felt uncertain, delicate, dependent on many unseen things. Inside the tombs that rest beneath the earth, there is a different kind of stillness. The air is unmoving, cool, untouched by the shifting winds above. The walls hold their silence. The objects remain exactly where they were placed. And within this quiet space, the prepared body lies at rest, wrapped carefully, protected from time as much as possible. But even in this stillness, the journey is not still. It is believed to have already begun. Softly, without sound, without visible motion, the Ba, light and free, begins to move. It drifts, not in confusion, but with a kind of quiet searching. It seeks familiar places. It returns, at times, to the world of the living, to the home it once knew, to the spaces where its presence is remembered. And then it moves away again, towards something distant, something unseen. The Ka remains closer. It stays near the body, near the tomb, sustained by the offerings that are placed with care. It does not wander far. It does not drift. It waits, patiently. And this waiting, this separation of parts, is another reason for quiet concern. Because the journey requires unity, the parts must come together again. They must recognize one another. They must remain connected. If they fail to do so, the self may not fully continue. This is not spoken of in harsh terms. It is not described with fear that shouts or overwhelms, but it is understood deeply, steadily, as something that must be avoided. As dawn begins to return once more, the tomb remains in darkness. The light does not reach inside, but above the ground, the world begins again. The same soft glow spreads across the horizon. The same gentle warmth follows, and once again the living rise to meet the day. A man walks toward the burial place, carrying a small bundle. His steps are slow, careful, and deliberate. He does not speak. He does not rush. When he reaches the tomb, he pauses for a moment, standing still in the quiet morning air. Then, with gentle hands, he places the offering near the entrance. Bread, water, simple things, but important, always important. He speaks a few soft words, not loud enough to carry far, not meant for others, only for the one who has passed. And then he leaves, his steps just as quiet as before. This act will be repeated again and again, not every day, not always in the same way, but often enough to maintain the connection, to ensure that the Ka is not left without support, to ensure that the bond between worlds does not weaken. Because without this care, the fear grows, not suddenly, not sharply, but gradually, like a slow fading of light. As the day unfolds once more, the village moves through its familiar rhythm. Work continues. Voices rise and fall. The sounds of daily life return, steady and calm. And yet, beneath all of it, the presence of the unseen journey remains, a quiet layer beneath the surface of everything. Children pass near the tombs as they move along their paths. They do not avoid them. They do not run from them. They have grown up with their presence. To them, the tombs are not places of sudden fear. They are part of the landscape, part of the world they know. And yet, they understand, in their own quiet way, that these places hold something important, something that must be respected, something that must not be disturbed. As the sun reaches its height once more, the heat settles in. The air grows still. Even the smallest movement feels slower. In this stillness, thoughts return again to the journey beyond, to the paths that must be walked, to the words that must be remembered, to the balance that must be maintained. The idea of obstacles becomes clearer, not obstacles of force or conflict, but of knowledge, of awareness, of memory. There are gates, it is said, not physical in the way a door is physical, but present nonetheless, each one requiring something, a name, a phrase, a recognition, and without these, passage is not granted. This is where preparation becomes essential, not only of the body, not only of the tomb, but of the mind, of the memory, of the quiet knowledge that must be carried forward. As afternoon fades once more, the wind returns. It moves gently across the land, stirring the dust, bending the reeds along the river's edge. The shadows lengthen, the light softens, and the day begins to close. A group gathers again, not in ceremony, but in quiet conversation. They speak of what they have been taught. They repeat certain words, certain phrases, not loudly, not with urgency, but with care, as if placing them gently into the space of memory where they must remain. These repetitions are not empty. They are not routine. They are acts of preparation, small, steady steps towards something that cannot be seen, but must be faced. As night returns once more, the sky fills again with stars, the same patterns, the same quiet order. Nothing seems to change, and yet everything is always moving, always shifting, always preparing. The tomb remains still beneath the earth. The offerings rest quietly. The ka waits. The ba moves. And somewhere, beyond what can be seen or fully understood, the journey continues, slowly, silently, without interruption. The wind softens, the village grows quiet, and once again the thoughts of the ancient Egyptians settle into the stillness of night, calm, steady, and always aware that beyond the gentle rhythm of life there is a path that must be walked with care.
The night feels especially still now. It is not empty, but full of a quiet presence, something soft that settles over the land and lingers in every space. The air carries a faint coolness, and the earth seems to rest beneath it, unmoving and calm. The Nile continues its slow and steady flow. Even in darkness, it does not lose its sense of direction. Its path is certain, guided by something constant and unchanging. The surface reflects the stars in faint, trembling lines, as if holding a distant memory of the sky. For those who live along its banks, this quiet movement offers a kind of comfort, but it also reminds them of something deeper, a journey that cannot be avoided, a path that must be taken, whether one feels ready or not. As the hours pass,
the silence grows deeper. And within that silence, thoughts become more noticeable. They rise gently, without force. They move slowly, like the river itself. Many of these thoughts return again and again to the same place, the unknown. Not the unknown of distant lands or unfamiliar faces, but the unknown that waits beyond life. A place that has been described, prepared for, and spoken about, yet never fully seen by the living. This creates a particular kind of feeling, not sharp fear, not panic, but a steady awareness, like a quiet shadow that follows each person through their days. As dawn begins to form once more, the darkness softens. The horizon lightens slowly, revealing the shapes of the land in gentle layers. The outlines of homes, trees, and distant structures emerge with calm certainty. The world returns, familiar, ordered, steady. And with it, the routines begin again. A young woman steps outside her home, carrying a small basket. She moves slowly, adjusting the cloth around her shoulders as the morning air brushes lightly against her skin. She walks toward a nearby tomb. Her steps are careful, but not hesitant. She has made this walk many times before. When she reaches the place, she kneels quietly. From the basket, she removes small offerings: bread, a piece of fruit, a small vessel of water. Each item is placed with attention, as if its position carries meaning beyond what can be seen. She does not speak at first. She simply remains still for a moment, her hands resting gently in her lap. Then, softly, she begins to speak. Not loudly, not with urgency, but with a calm, steady tone. She speaks a name, then another. Her words are simple. They are not formal. They are not structured. They are personal. A quiet continuation of a relationship that has not ended, only changed. When she finishes, she lowers her gaze for a moment longer. Then she arises slowly and leaves, her steps as quiet as when she arrived. This act, repeated across the land in many different forms, reflects something essential: a need to maintain connection, a need to keep the presence of the dead from fading into silence. Because silence, in this sense, is not peaceful. It is uncertain, it is empty, and it carries with it the risk of being lost. As the day unfolds, the village moves with its usual calm rhythm. People work, they speak in low voices, they move through familiar spaces. But beneath all of it, the awareness of the unseen world remains, a quiet layer that never fully disappears. In a shaded area, a group gathers once more around an elder. The elder's voice is soft but steady. They speak of the journey in greater detail, of the long passage through unseen spaces, of the need to remain whole, to remain aware, to remain prepared. They describe how the self must face many moments of recognition, moments where identity must be affirmed, where one must know who they are, without doubt, without confusion. Because without this clarity, the path becomes uncertain. A self may lose its direction. It may drift, not in chaos, but in a kind of quiet disconnection. And this is one of the deepest concerns. Not suffering, not pain, but the possibility of losing one's place, of becoming something undefined, something without memory or form. The listeners absorb these words slowly. They do not react strongly. They do not show fear in an outward way, but the understanding settles within them, deep and steady. As the sun reaches its height, the heat returns. The air grows still.
Even the smallest movements feel measured and slow. In this stillness, the idea of preparation becomes clearer. It is not something done at the end of life. It is something woven into every day, every action, every word, every thought. All of it contributes to what will come after. As afternoon fades, a gentle wind moves across the land once more. The reeds along the river bend slightly. The surface of the water shifts. The shadows begin to lengthen, and the day moves quietly toward its close. A man sits alone near the edge of the village. He looks out across the land, his gaze steady and calm. His thoughts are not hurried. They move slowly, like the fading light. He reflects on what he has learned, on what he has done, on what remains. There is no urgency in his thinking, no sudden concern, only a quiet awareness that time moves forward, that the path ahead is certain, and that preparation must continue, gently, steadily, without interruption. As evening settles, the sky fills once more with soft color. The warmth fades, the air cools, and the familiar stillness returns. Small lights appear within the homes. Voices grow softer. Movement slows. The day comes to rest. And once again, the thoughts of the ancient Egyptians turn inward, not with fear that disturbs, but with awareness that remains, always present, always steady. As the stars return to their places in the sky, the land becomes quiet once more. The Nile flows. The tombs remain still. The offerings rest where they have been placed. And somewhere beyond what can be seen, the journey continues, unbroken, unseen, guided by memory, by words, by balance. The wind softens, the night deepens, and the ancient world rests again, holding its quiet understanding close, that beyond the gentle rhythm of life there is something vast, silent, and deeply important, waiting with patient certainty.
The night settles deeper than before, as if the land itself has exhaled and grown still. There is a softness in the darkness, not empty, not cold, but calm and steady. The air carries a faint chill that rests lightly on the skin, and the earth beneath feels firm and unmoving. The Nile flows quietly through it all. Its surface is smooth, reflecting faint traces of starlight that seem to drift along with the current. There is no sound to mark its movement, yet its presence is constant, a quiet thread connecting every part of the land. For those who lie resting in their homes, this steady presence is familiar. It has always been there, and in its constancy, there is a kind of reassurance. But beyond that reassurance, there is also a quiet reminder that everything moves forward, that nothing remains exactly as it is. As the hours pass, the darkness holds, and within it, the unseen world feels closer, not in a way that disturbs, but in a way that deepens awareness. It is during these quiet hours that thoughts return most clearly, thoughts of the journey, of the path that must be walked alone, of the many steps that cannot be skipped. In the stillness, the idea of time begins to feel different, not measured in days or seasons, but in moments that stretch beyond what can be easily understood. The ancient Egyptians believed that the journey after death was not immediate. It was not a simple transition. It unfolded slowly, carefully, like the passing of a long night. There were stages,
movements from one space into another, each one requiring attention, each one shaped by what had been done in life. As the first light of dawn begins to appear once more, the darkness softens. The sky lightens gradually, revealing the outlines of the land in quiet detail. The shapes of trees, homes, and distant tombs become visible again, as if returning from a hidden place. The Nile catches the light early. Its surface shifts from dark to pale, reflecting the growing brightness with a soft glow. And with this return of light, the world begins again. A man wakes slowly, his movements unhurried. He steps outside, feeling the cool ground beneath his feet. For a moment he stands still, looking out across the land as it wakes. His thoughts are calm, measured. He does not rush into the day. Instead, he allows the quiet of the morning to settle around him. Because in these early moments, the mind feels clear, open, receptive. It is a time for remembering, not in a forced way, but in a gentle, steady way. The teachings he has heard, the words he has been told, the path that lies ahead. He recalls the idea of the heart, the balance, the careful weighing that awaits. He understands that nothing can be hidden in that moment, nothing can be forgotten. Everything remains, not as judgment from outside, but as truth from within. This understanding does not create sudden fear. It creates stillness, a quiet sense of responsibility. As the day unfolds, the village returns to its steady rhythm. People move along familiar paths. They carry out their tasks with calm attention. Voices remain low. Movements remain measured. And beneath it all, the awareness of the unseen journey continues. A child walks beside an elder, listening as they speak softly. The elder's voice is slow, deliberate. They speak of the many forms the self must take after death, of how it must move, how it must recognize, how it must remain aware. They explain that confusion is a risk, not a loud or sudden confusion, but a quiet one, a loss of clarity, a fading of understanding, and this too must be guarded against. The child listens carefully, not fully understanding, but absorbing the rhythm of the words, the calm seriousness in the elder's voice, because one day these words will matter. As the sun reaches its highest point, the land grows still again. The heat settles in. The air becomes heavy and quiet. Even the smallest sounds seem to fade. In this stillness, thoughts deepen. They move inward. They settle into the quiet spaces of the mind. The idea of the journey expands. It is no longer just a path, but a series of passages, each one requiring something different. At times strength, at times memory, at times recognition, and always awareness. Because without awareness, the path cannot be followed. Without awareness, the self might drift, not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, slow fading. As afternoon begins to soften much more, the wind returns. It moves gently across the land, bringing a sense of lightness back to the air. The shadows stretch longer now, reaching slowly across the ground. A woman sits near the entrance of her home, weaving quietly. Her hands move with steady rhythm. Her thoughts move just as steadily. She reflects on the small actions of the day, the words she has spoken, the way she has moved through her tasks, not with regret, not with worry, but with quiet attention, because she understands that these small actions matter. They gather, they shape something unseen, they contribute to the balance that will one day be measured.
As evening approaches, the sky softens once more. Warm tones spread across the horizon. The heat begins to lift, and the village slows. Fires are lit, simple meals are prepared, voices become softer, more distant. The day begins to close, and once again the thoughts turn inward, not with urgency, not with fear that disturbs, but with a steady awareness, a calm recognition that life is part of a longer journey, one that does not end with the body. As night returns, the stars appear once more. They take their places in the sky, unchanged, steady, and silent. The same patterns, the same quiet order. And beneath them, the land grows still. The Nile flows. The tombs remain untouched. The offerings rest where they have been placed. And somewhere beyond what can be seen, the journey continues, slowly, carefully, unfolding in ways that cannot be fully known, but are deeply felt. The wind softens, the darkness deepens, and the ancient world rests again, holding its quiet understanding close, that beyond the calm rhythm of life, there is a path shaped by memory, by balance, and by the careful preservation of the self.
The night deepens, folding the land into its quiet embrace. The stars are steady, scattered across the sky like distant, attentive eyes. Their light is soft, not bright, not urgent, but patient. It has traveled far to reach the earth, and in its quiet arrival, it carries a sense of continuity, a reminder that some things endure beyond the fleeting movements of a single life. The Nile mirrors the stars, rippling gently. Its slow current hums a low, steady song, only perceptible if one listens carefully. The sound is not loud, it does not demand attention, it merely exists, constant and unwavering. In the homes along its banks, people sleep or rest quietly, eyes closed, breathing in the cool night air. Some dream, though dreams are not always vivid or startling. Often they are soft, fragmentary, lingering images of people, places, and moments that have passed. And beneath the quiet surface of sleep, there is always awareness, a subtle, almost invisible thread connecting the living to the departed. The Ka rests, nourished by the offerings placed days before. The Ba drifts lightly, visiting familiar places, touching the edges of the homes, the spaces that were once familiar, before returning again to the tomb. No one rushes this process. There is no need. Time itself seems to flow differently here, stretching and contracting like the gentle movement of the river. A woman, awake for only a short while before sleep pulls her back, walks softly to a small shrine within her home. Her hands tremble slightly, not from fear, but from the tenderness of the task. She arranges offerings, a bit of bread, a small jug of water, a handful of dates. She adjusts their placement with deliberate care. She whispers names that are not her own, names that she has heard repeated by elders since she was small, names that must not be forgotten. The sound barely rises above the quiet room, yet it holds power. To speak these names is to keep memory alive, to maintain connection, to affirm that the self does not vanish into nothingness. Outside, the night wind stirs the reeds along the riverbank. Their soft brushing fills the space with rhythm, almost like a slow, gentle lullaby. A distant owl calls once and then is silent. Everything moves softly, in cycles, in patterns that have existed for countless generations. The man who had walked the fields earlier now lies in his home, still awake, listening to the sounds of the night. He does not fear what comes next, not in the sudden, sharp way that a story might make one afraid. Instead, he feels the steady weight of responsibility, the quiet importance of his days. He reflects on his actions, not with regret, but with calm understanding.
Each word he spoke, each task he completed, each kindness given or withheld, they are all recorded in memory, both his own and in the unseen world beyond the body. The thought of the heart being weighed arises again, not as panic, but as gentle attention, not in haste, but in the slow, quiet rhythm of life. He knows the balance is shaped slowly, day by day, moment by moment, and so he has lived carefully, always attentive, never entirely unaware. The night deepens, shadows stretch long, embracing the homes, the tombs, the river. The temperature cools, the air is heavier, yet light enough to move freely with each breath. In the distance, the sound of the Nile shifts subtly. The current moves over hidden stones, ripples form and fade. The movement is quiet, but it is constant, a reminder that nothing truly stops even when the world seems still. Somewhere, far beyond the village, a tomb holds a body wrapped carefully in linen. It rests on stone that has been carved, measured, and placed with precision. The walls around it are smooth, cool, and silent. The air is still. The offerings remain beside it, untouched by time. And yet, within this stillness, the Ba moves. Light and unseen, it drifts through the space, visiting objects, touching the edges of memory, following the threads of familiarity, returning always to the tomb where the Ka waits. It is not frightening. There is no terror in this movement, only a quiet fulfillment of what must be done, only the careful observation of the unseen path, guided by the preparation of life and the attentiveness of the living. The man in his home finally allows his body to relax completely. His hands rest on his chest, his mind calm. He does not try to push away the thoughts of what comes next. He simply lets them exist, like the distant stars, like the river, like the slow movement of time itself. The night stretches further, unbroken. The village rests, the river flows, the tombs remain still. And beyond all of this, the journey continues, softly, slowly, endlessly, carried forward by memory, by care, and by the enduring pulse of life that never truly ends. The air grows heavier with the quiet scent of the earth, of water, of warmth slowly fading. Shadows deepen further. The night seems to fold around the land, protective, patient, eternal. And within this stillness, the fear that once troubled the living does not shout, it does not startle, it is merely present, woven into the calm, gentle understanding that life and what follows it are inseparable. The stars shine steadily, the river flows, the village sleeps, and the story, like the soft hum of night, drifts into silence, carrying with it the quiet weight of remembrance, the gentle patience of preparation, and the slow, enduring heartbeat of a civilization that always understood death is not an ending, but a careful continuation.
The night holds a depth that is almost tangible. It stretches across the fields, the river, and the village, enfolding everything in its quiet, steady embrace. The air is cool, soft against the skin, and the faint fragrance of earth and water lingers, carried gently by a light breeze. The Nile flows endlessly, unseen yet known. Its waters move with a gentle insistence, reflecting the stars in patterns that shift and shimmer. They ripple slowly, as if acknowledging the quiet rhythm of life along its banks. In the homes nearby, the people lie in varying states of rest. Some sleep deeply, breathing evenly, while others remain half awake, their minds wandering softly through memories, fragments of conversations, or recollections of the day's tasks. And in every household, the awareness of death is present, not as something to frighten, but as something to honor.
It is a quiet lair beneath each moment, shaping attention, care, and action without ever needing to intrude. A young boy wakes briefly, feeling the cool air, the faint scent of bread left from the morning's preparation. He sits up slowly, careful not to disturb anyone else, and looks toward the horizon, where the first pale light of dawn will soon arrive. He remembers the stories he has heard since he was small, stories told by elders, softly, patiently, about what happens when the body no longer moves, about the journey that follows. He does not rush into fear. He does not clutch his blanket. Instead, he breathes slowly, letting the knowledge settle gently within him. The idea of the heart being weighed, of the self being measured, is not shocking. It is a quiet truth, something that has always existed just beyond immediate perception, shaping the way life is lived. Across the village, an older man sits outside, hands folded over a piece of cloth. He is working on a small amulet, simple yet carefully detailed. His movements are deliberate, steady, unhurried. Each touch is meaningful. Each adjustment matters. These are not objects for vanity or decoration. They are tools for continuity, objects that will accompany the soul when it moves from the world of the living into the unseen path beyond. He pauses to look toward the river. The water gleams faintly in the darkness. Its movement is slow, constant. It reminds him that even when bodies are still, life continues. Even when forms fade, the flow remains. He breathes in quietly, letting the thought settle. Within the tombs, bodies lie still. Linen wraps hold them in careful preservation. Stone walls keep the air cool and unmoving. Offerings remain in place, untouched, awaiting the attention of the living. The Ka rests nearby, nourished by the offerings, while the Ba drifts lightly, visiting familiar places, moving softly through spaces that were once alive with presence. There is no fear in this movement. There is only the quiet rhythm of continuation. The unseen journey is steady, deliberate, and patient. Outside, the wind stirs the reeds along the riverbank. The soft rustling sound is gentle, almost imperceptible, blending with the far-off hum of insects and the faint murmur of water against stone. The night feels alive, yet calm. Everything moves, yet nothing disturbs the quiet. A woman rises softly from her place near the fire, carrying a small vessel of water. She moves toward a corner of her home, where a simple shrine rests. Carefully, she places the water among the offerings of bread, dates, and small figurines. Her hands move slowly, deliberately. She whispers a few names, softly, reverently. These names are not just remembered, they are preserved, spoken now to ensure they continue into the unseen journey, untouched by forgetfulness. The village remains still. Each life moves gently in its own rhythm. No sudden movements, no raised voices, only the soft continuity of attention, of remembrance, of preparation. And everywhere the awareness of what comes after quietly threads itself through the day and night. It is never loud, it is never intrusive, it is simply there, steady and patient, shaping life without drawing attention to itself. The man from earlier sits once more, watching the stars emerge in the darkening sky. He breathes in slowly, letting the cool night fill him. His mind is quiet, his thoughts are steady. He thinks of the heart, the balance, the careful weighing that will come, not with panic, not with fear, but with understanding. Every action, every word,
Every small decision has been a part of this preparation, not all at once, but over years, woven gently into the rhythm of daily life. The river flows, the village sleeps, the tombs remain quiet, the offerings rest, the Ba moves, the Ka waits. And in this vast, patient world, life and what comes after continue in delicate, careful balance. The night deepens further, the wind softens, the air grows still, and the ancient world rests, carrying its quiet understanding into the darkness, steady, patient, and eternal.
The night lingers, deep and calm, folding over the land like a soft, protective cloth. The stars above are steady, unchanging, distant yet familiar. Their light touches the river in faint, shimmering streaks, tracing gentle paths across the water's surface. The current moves slowly, almost imperceptibly, carrying the quiet weight of time forward. The village rests beneath this vast sky. Homes are dark, smoke from small fires long since faded. Footsteps are absent, voices are hushed. The stillness is not empty, it is full of presence, a presence that has existed for generations, felt and understood by all who live and move within it. Within one home, a man lies on a simple mat. His hands rest lightly across his chest. His eyes are closed, but his mind is awake in quiet contemplation. He does not rush toward the future, nor does he cling to the past. He simply breathes, steady and calm, letting the knowledge of life and death settle within him. He thinks softly of the tombs nearby, of the bodies resting within, the careful wrappings of linen, the smooth stone walls, the quiet offerings left to nourish the Ka. The Ba drifts in its gentle path, visiting the familiar, tracing memories before returning again to the tomb. All of it moves slowly, in ways that cannot be fully seen or measured. Outside, the reeds along the river sway gently in the soft night breeze. Their movement is almost like a whisper, repeating a rhythm that has existed for countless generations. The sound blends with the low hum of the water flowing, creating a harmony that is both steady and soothing. The man rises softly, careful not to disturb the home around him. He steps outside, feeling the cool earth beneath his feet. He walks slowly toward a small shrine in the corner of the yard, where offerings rest. He places a simple loaf of bread, a piece of fruit, and a small vessel of water. Each item is positioned with deliberate care, arranged as if even the smallest detail matters. He speaks a name softly, letting the words float into the night. This is not an act of fear. It is an act of care, of memory, of connection. Every small movement, every gentle word is part of a rhythm that binds the living to those who have passed. The village is quiet, but not lifeless. Somewhere in the distance, a faint sound of water splashing against the riverbank can be heard. A dog shifts in its sleep. The wind moves lightly, brushing against walls and rooftops. All of these sounds are soft, measured, familiar. The man returns to his home and lies once more upon his mat. He does not close his eyes tightly. He does not push away thought. Instead, he allows reflection to come slowly, like the gentle flow of the river outside. He remembers the elders' words about the heart, about balance, about the careful weighing that determines the next stage of the journey, not in fear, not in alarm, but in calm understanding, the awareness of life and death intertwined, inseparable. In the tombs, the Ka remains near the body, sustained and patient. The Ba moves lightly, visiting familiar spaces, carrying memory and recognition. Objects that have been carefully placed continue to serve their purpose. The linen, the amulets, the offerings, they are more than material. They are carriers of intention, conduits of continuity. Outside, the wind grows softer still. The river slows in its motion, though it does not stop. Shadows deepen, merging with the shapes of homes, fields, and trees. The night feels almost infinite, stretching quietly in all directions. The village is still. The man breathes steadily, feeling the weight of the unseen threads that connect him to what has come before and what will follow. Life and death exist together here, in quiet balance, neither dominating the other. Time continues without urgency. Days will come, nights will come. The same rhythms will repeat, steady and patient, gentle and unbroken. And in this quiet, the fear that once might have seemed overwhelming is softened. It does not demand attention. It does not disturb. It becomes something different, awareness, respect, and care, carried with gentle patience. The stars hold their places. The river flows. The tombs remain still. The offerings lie quietly. And the journey, as it always has, moves onward, slowly, quietly, endlessly. The night deepens further, folding the world into itself. And in this silence, the ancient Egyptians rest, carrying their understanding close, steady, and eternal, waiting, prepared, and at peace.
The night stretches on, calm and unbroken, as if the world itself has paused to breathe. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and water. The soft rustle of reeds along the Nile blends with the distant flow of the river, a quiet, steady song that seems eternal. Shadows stretch long, folding over the mud-brick homes, the narrow paths, and the small shrines tucked into corners. Inside one home, a woman lies awake, her thoughts moving gently through the day's quiet moments. She recalls the sounds she heard earlier, the soft footfalls of a child walking to the river, the low hum of men carrying water jars, the faint clinking of pottery as meals were prepared. These ordinary acts, repeated in calm rhythm, form a tapestry of care that shapes the unseen journey ahead. She rises slowly, her movements deliberate, careful not to disturb the resting family around her. She steps to a corner of the room where a small collection of offerings has been gathered. Bread, fruit, water, and a few simple figurines. Each object has been touched, arranged, and placed with mindful attention. She whispers names softly, letting them float into the night. Names of ancestors, of those who have gone before, whose memory she tends with quiet devotion. Speaking these names is not an act of fear, but of connection, a gentle acknowledgement that life continues, even beyond what can be seen. Outside, the river moves with slow certainty. Its surface reflects the stars in faint, trembling lines. The current carries the quiet weight of everything that has passed and everything that is yet to come. Nothing hurries here. Nothing presses forward too quickly. Time itself seems to bend, flowing in rhythm with the careful pace of life along its banks. In the village, homes remain still. Fires have died down to faint embers. Footsteps and voices are nearly absent. Even the animals rest quietly, sensing the calm that stretches through the night. In a nearby tomb, the body lies wrapped carefully in linen. The stone walls hold the air steady, cool, unchanging. Offerings remain untouched, vessels of water, small cakes of bread, and tokens of devotion waiting to sustain the ka.
The ba moves lightly, floating over the familiar spaces, visiting the corners of memory and recognition, before returning once again to the tomb. The process is not frightening. There is no urgency or panic, only patience, steady and deliberate, a rhythm that has been followed for generations, a rhythm that teaches the living how to honor what is to come. The woman returns to her sleeping mat. She lies quietly, allowing her thoughts to drift, not wandering, not racing, but moving with gentle purpose. The elders' lessons, the stories told since childhood, and the awareness of life and death intertwine in her mind. She breathes slowly, feeling the pulse of the world beyond her body, the steady movement of the river, the timeless rhythm of the stars. Somewhere far beyond the village, the wind shifts slightly. It touches the tombs, the river, the fields, moving softly through the land. It does not hurry, it does not disturb, it merely moves, carrying with it the calm understanding that life and death exist together, inseparable, balanced, and patient. The night continues. The stars remain. The river flows. The village rests. The tombs hold still. And in the gentle silence, the journey carries on, slowly, quietly, eternally. The ancient world sleeps in patient awareness. Every life, every offering, every thought, woven together into a calm, unbroken continuity. And as the night stretches deeper, the understanding remains, soft and unwavering. The passage beyond life is not sudden, it is gradual, it is steady, it is prepared for, nurtured, and honored. The world rests once more, and the story fades into the quiet, gentle rhythm of eternity.
The first hints of pre-dawn light begin to touch the horizon, soft and pale, brushing the land in gentle tones. It does not rush in, it drifts slowly, like a careful thought emerging from sleep. The river shifts with this new light. Its dark surface becomes a mirror, reflecting the subtle hues of the sky, blending blues and golds in quiet harmony. The movement is slow, almost imperceptible, a continuation of the night's steady rhythm rather than a sudden change. In the village, the people remain largely at rest. Some have begun to stir, their movements quiet, deliberate, unhurried. The sound of footsteps across the packed earth is soft. The low murmur of conversation is muted, gentle, as though even words are measured to fit the calm of the morning. A man rises from his mat and walks to a small hearth. He lights a flame carefully, allowing it to grow slowly, its warmth filling the room without harshness. The scent of smoke is faint, almost imperceptible, and it mingles with the cooler air from the window. He prepares simple food for the day, bread, dates, and water. Each action is careful, practiced, deliberate. There is no rush, no fear. The preparation is as much about the living as it is about the journey that lies beyond. He pauses to touch a small amulet placed on the table beside him. Its surface is smooth and worn, shaped by the hands of someone long ago. Its presence is steady, grounding. It carries meaning, intention, and care. He does not speak of it aloud. There is no need. The value is quiet, internal, understood without explanation. Outside, the wind moves lightly across the fields. The barley bends in slow waves, brushing softly against each other, producing a faint, constant rustle. The sound is calming, like the steady pulse of the earth itself. Children begin to rise in small numbers, moving softly through the homes and streets.
They speak in hushed tones, learning the rhythm of their parents, the elders, the village itself. Every movement is measured. Every action carries awareness of life and what follows it. The man steps outside, feeling the cool morning air. The land is calm. The distant mountains appear muted under the pale light, their edges softened by the gentle glow of dawn. The fields stretch endlessly, dotted with small homes and paths. The smell of damp earth from last night's dew rises faintly, comforting in its familiarity. He moves toward a small shrine near the river where offerings rest from previous days. He adjusts them lightly, without urgency. He places a fresh piece of bread, pours water into a clay vessel, and leaves small fruits. Each placement is precise, careful, intentional. He whispers names softly, names of those who have passed, names of those who will one day follow. There is no tremor in his voice, no fear, only attention, respect, and understanding. The Nile continues its quiet flow. The reeds bend in the soft wind. The sun begins its slow ascent, spilling gentle light across the village. The warmth is soft, comforting, never harsh. Shadows shrink slowly, stretching the shapes of homes and fields in delicate, measured shifts. Inside the tombs, the Ka remains steady, nourished by offerings. The Ba moves gently through spaces of memory, circling, observing, returning. There is no chaos, no sudden motion, only the quiet rhythm of the journey, deliberate and patient. Life continues, not separate from death, but intertwined with it. The daily tasks, the careful arrangements, the offerings, the whispered names, they all exist as part of the same ongoing path. Each action in life carries weight for what comes next. The man returns to his home. He sits quietly, hands resting on his knees. He breathes slowly. The light moves across the room, shifting gently. Dust motes float lazily in its path. Everything is still. Everything is calm. The world is awake, but in gentle, measured steps. The people move, speak, work, and prepare, all guided by an unspoken understanding of life's continuity and the careful journey beyond. The air carries faint scents of earth, water, and baked bread. The river hums softly. The village moves quietly, intentionally, in rhythm with a knowledge that is not spoken loudly, but understood deeply. And as the day begins, the awareness of death does not vanish. It is simply woven into the calm pattern of living, not frightening, not harsh, but steady, present, patient, eternal. The sun rises higher, the shadows retreat, the village continues its measured motions, and somewhere beyond sight, beyond comprehension, the journey beyond life unfolds gently, slowly, quietly, carrying forward the care, memory, and preparation of countless generations. Life and death coexist here, not as enemies, but as partners in a long, unbroken rhythm. And in the soft, steady light of morning, the story continues, endlessly, quietly, and without rush. The day stretches forward, gentle and unhurried. The sunlight moves slowly across the earth, touching the walls of homes, the narrow streets, and the small shrines with a quiet warmth. The air is calm, carrying the faint scent of river water mingled with the soft aroma of baking bread. Each sound, each movement seems measured, deliberate, in harmony with the slow pulse of life along the Nile. A woman steps outside her home. Her hands carry a small basket of dates and freshly baked bread. She walks softly over the packed earth, pausing occasionally to straighten the contents or adjust the placement of the basket on her shoulder. Her movements are not hurried. They are gentle, careful, deliberate. She pauses at the edge of the village, near the reeds that border the river. The water reflects the sunlight in gentle ripples, shimmering faintly. She leans slightly to set the basket down and touches the water with her fingertips. It is cool, steady, familiar. The river has always been here. It always will be. And like the river, life flows steadily, carrying all things forward. The village remains calm. Children move softly, learning the rhythm of life through quiet observation. Men and women carry out their daily tasks with steady attention, weaving cloth, grinding grain, tending to small fires, or repairing tools. Voices are low, footsteps measured, actions deliberate. There is an underlying awareness that accompanies each moment. It is not fear, nor urgency. It is knowledge, a quiet understanding that life continues, but only as part of a longer journey. In the tombs, the ka rests. The ba drifts slowly, touching familiar places and objects, observing, returning. Offerings remain, untouched but potent in their presence. Stone walls keep the air still, cool and constant. Within the stillness, the unseen world moves with purpose, deliberate and calm. The woman gathers the basket and begins her careful walk back to her home. She adjusts the contents slowly, ensuring nothing is disturbed. She passes by small shrines along the way, each touched by the care and attention of those still living. She whispers names softly, words carried into the quiet air. These names are remembered, preserved, honored. They are not spoken to invoke fear, but to maintain connection, to ensure that memory and attention continue into the journey beyond. The sun moves higher. Shadows shift gently, stretching across the land in soft, slow patterns. The warmth increases, yet the air remains calm. The rhythm of the day is steady, unbroken, deliberate. Inside the homes, people pause occasionally to rest, to breathe, to reflect. Every movement, every choice is guided by awareness. Life and death coexist naturally here, interwoven, inseparable, steady. A man sits in the shade of a small structure, watching the river. The water flows silently, endlessly. He traces the movement with his eyes, noting the patterns, the ripples, the reflection of sunlight across the gentle waves. He breathes slowly, letting the awareness of the river and its steady flow settle within him. He remembers the teachings of elders, that life is preparation and death is passage, that every careful action, every offering, every word spoken carries weight beyond the immediate moment, that the balance of the heart, the journey of the ba, the sustenance of the ka, all of it matters. The day continues. Activities unfold gently, in rhythm with the natural movement of the land and river. There is no rush, no loud interruptions, only the careful, deliberate awareness that life is part of a longer, steady journey. As evening approaches, the sunlight softens. Golden tones spread across the village, illuminating walls, paths, and fields in gentle warmth. Shadows lengthen, stretching slowly toward the river. The air cools, carrying the soft scent of earth and water once more. People move more slowly now, preparing for rest. Fires are lit carefully, their smoke rising in thin, delicate trails. Meals are shared quietly. Words are low, measured, gentle. And in the midst of all this, the awareness of the journey beyond remains quietly present. The river continues its slow flow. The tombs remain still. Offerings rest as they have been placed. The ba drifts lightly, touching familiar spaces, returning to the tomb, moving with calm, deliberate purpose. And within this steady rhythm, life and death are not separate, not oppositional. They are intertwined, balanced, continuous, patient. The stars begin to appear in the sky once more. Their soft light spreads across the land, reflecting faintly in the water, casting gentle shadows over homes and fields. The village settles into quiet, deliberate rest. And somewhere, beyond sight, beyond comprehension, the unseen journey continues, slowly, patiently, steadily. The world holds its breath, and the story, like the gentle flow of the river or the quiet stretch of night, moves forward, soft, continuous, eternal.
Night deepens once more, wrapping the village and fields in its soft, muted embrace. The stars are steady, unmoving, distant yet familiar. Their light glimmers gently on the river, tracing faint, flickering paths across the dark water. The Nile flows silently, carrying the same steady rhythm it has for centuries. Its movement is subtle, constant, a reminder that life, like the river, never truly stops. Inside the homes, the village rests. Fires burn low, the last tendrils of smoke curling into the night air. Children lie in woven mats, their breathing calm and measured. Adults sit quietly by their own hearths, hands resting in laps, minds wandering softly through memory and reflection. A man steps lightly to the edge of his home. He gazes toward the tombs, just visible in the fading moonlight. Stone walls rise silently, holding bodies carefully wrapped in linen. Offerings remain in place, untouched yet potent. The ka rests, nourished by these gifts. The ba drifts lightly, visiting the familiar spaces, observing the world of the living and returning again. The man does not feel fear. There is no panic, no sudden urgency. There is only steady awareness. He thinks of the heart being weighed, of careful preparation, of small acts repeated day after day. He understands that each movement, each word, each attention to detail matters beyond the moment, carrying into the journey after life. The wind moves gently through the reeds along the river. Their soft rustling joins with the faint hum of the water, producing a quiet harmony. This sound, like everything else, is slow and deliberate, a calm, persistent rhythm that shapes the night. He bends slightly, touching a small shrine within his home. An amulet lies there, smooth from handling, worn from time. A piece of bread, a tiny vessel of water, and a carved figure rest beside it. He arranges them carefully, adjusting their placement, whispering a few names softly, letting the words float into the night. Names are not forgotten here. Memory is preserved through gentle care, through attentiveness, through repetition. Life and death are bound together by these small, deliberate acts. Outside, the village remains quiet. Doors close softly. Footsteps are absent. Even the animals rest with the same deliberate calm. The air is heavy with stillness, yet light enough to breathe easily. In the tombs, the unseen journey continues without disturbance. The ba drifts from one familiar space to another, touching memory,
revisiting places once known before returning to the tomb. The Ka waits, nourished by offerings, patient and steady. The passage beyond life unfolds gradually, deliberately, without rush, without intrusion. The man lies down once more. He does not close his eyes tightly. He allows the awareness of life and death to settle within him. He breathes slowly. The stars above remain, faint reflections glimmer in the river, and the night hums quietly around him. Time flows differently here, not in sudden leaps, not in urgency, but in measured, continuous steps, each one part of a long, unbroken rhythm that has existed for generations. Life and death are not separate. They coexist, balanced, patient, eternal. The night stretches unbroken. The wind softens. Shadows deepen. The river continues its slow, steady flow. And in this calm, deliberate space, the story moves forward gently, carrying with it the care, the memory, and the quiet understanding of countless generations. The journey beyond life is not sudden, not violent, not abrupt. It is gradual, steady, patient, prepared for, and deeply understood. And in this quiet, the world rests. The darkness lingers, full and soft, stretching over the fields, the homes, and the river with a quiet patience. The stars are steady in their places. They shimmer faintly, distant but familiar, casting gentle reflections on the slow-moving Nile. The river flows with calm persistence, carrying the soft weight of life and time in its steady current. Every ripple, every shimmer moves slowly, deliberately, as if in harmony with the rhythm of the night itself. In the village, homes are quiet. Fires have dwindled to embers. Shadows fill corners and doorways. The faint smell of earth, water, and cooling clay lingers in the air. People sleep deeply or rest with eyes closed, breathing evenly. Even the smallest sounds, a distant owl, the rustle of a reed, the subtle hum of the river, seem to be part of a larger, calm pattern. A woman rises quietly from her mat. She moves with gentle care, her bare feet brushing the cool earth. In her hands, she carries a small vessel of water and a bit of bread. She approaches a modest shrine tucked into the corner of her home. She places her offerings softly, arranging each item with deliberate attention. The bread rests flat. The water vessel stands steady. A small figurine leans slightly against a stone, as it has for generations. She whispers names, softly, slowly, names that she has repeated many times before, names that carry memory, intention, and presence. These names float into the air, barely audible, but powerful in their persistence. Through them, the living maintain connection with the departed. Outside, the reeds bend gently in the wind. The sound they make is faint, constant, and almost melodic. The river hums quietly, flowing past stones and sandbars. The air carries the faint scent of wet earth and river water. Everything moves softly, deliberately, in a rhythm that has existed for countless generations. In the tombs, the Ka rests near the carefully wrapped body. The Ba drifts lightly, visiting familiar spaces and objects. It moves without rush or disturbance, circling the world it once knew before returning to the tomb. Offerings remain in place, untouched yet potent. Stone walls hold the air cool and steady. The passage beyond life unfolds gradually, patiently, deliberately. The man in the home watches the stars reflect on the river. He feels the slow pulse of life around him, the gentle rhythm of the village, the quiet flow of the Nile,
the soft sound of the wind through the reeds. He does not fear death. He does not cling to life. He breathes in the calm, letting understanding settle within him. The awareness of life and death is quiet here. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It moves in gentle steps, guiding each action, each thought, each care taken throughout the day. The heart is measured. The self is prepared. Memory and intention are preserved. The night continues to deepen, unhurried and endless. Shadows stretch, then blend into one another. Fires in distant homes glow faintly, then fade. The river hums softly. The tombs remain still. Offerings lie quietly. The ba drifts, the ka waits, and life continues in patient, steady rhythm. All around, the village breathes with calm awareness. The wind softens. The stars shine steadily. Time itself seems to move more slowly, in harmony with the gentle flow of life and death. And as the night carries on, the story moves forward, quietly, patiently, and endlessly. Life, death, and memory, woven together in a calm, eternal rhythm that has guided generations and will continue softly without end.
The night stretches further, deeper and quieter, holding the land in a gentle, patient embrace. The stars twinkle softly, scattered across the sky like small, steady lights. Their reflection shimmers faintly on the river's surface, moving slowly with the current. The Nile hums its constant song, carrying water and memory, life and passage, all in the same quiet flow. The sound is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it shapes the space around it, weaving calm into the night. In the village, homes are still. The firelight has dimmed. Shadows rest in corners. Even the small animals lie quietly, moving only when necessary. Children breathe in gentle rhythm, their dreams unhurried and soft. A man rises slowly from his mat. His body stretches just enough to feel the cool air. He walks softly to the edge of his home, toward the small shrine he maintains each night. His steps are deliberate, steady, measured, as if the rhythm of life itself guides him. He adjusts the offerings, a small loaf of bread placed carefully, a jug of water upright and unshaken, a figurine carved with care set at a gentle angle against the wall. He does not hurry. Each action is small, intentional, important. He whispers names softly, letting them drift into the night. Names of those who have passed, names of ancestors, names that carry memory, care, and presence. Speaking them is not fear, it is acknowledgement, connection, a thread tying life to the world beyond. Outside, the reeds bend and sway in the soft breeze. Their rustling blends with the distant hum of the river, a melody repeated through generations. The air carries the scent of earth, of damp clay, of cooling water. The rhythm of night continues, slow, deliberate, unbroken. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through familiar spaces, touching the edges of memory, then returning to the tomb. The offerings remain as they were placed, carrying nourishment across the unseen path. Stone walls hold the cool air still, steady, unchanging. The man returns to his mat. He lies down, breathing slowly, mind calm. His awareness of life and death rests with him, steady and soft. He does not resist, does not cling. He allows understanding to settle like a quiet weight, neither heavy nor alarming, just present. Time flows differently here, not rushed,
not abrupt, but steady, continuous, patient. Life and death are intertwined, inseparable, harmonious. Every small act, placing bread, whispering a name, arranging a vessel of water, is part of a larger ongoing rhythm that carries generations forward. The stars shine above, the river flows, the village rests, the tombs hold their quiet, offerings remain, potent in their stillness. The Ba drifts, the Ka waits. The night is infinite, yet comforting. Every sound, every movement, every reflection of light carries calm. The world moves gently, patiently, deliberately. And in this slow, steady, eternal rhythm, the story of life and death continues, softly, quietly, endlessly. The air cools further, shadows blend and stretch, the river hums softly, the village breathes in calm, and somewhere, unseen yet present, the ancient awareness of life, memory, and careful preparation flows onward as it always has, steady, patient, and eternal.
The night has deepened into its quietest hour, when even the wind seems to hold its breath. The stars hang still, faint and unwavering, scattered across the endless sky. Their light reaches the river in soft, broken streaks, tracing gentle, wavering patterns across the dark water. The Nile moves slowly, constantly, carrying with it the weight of life, memory, and time itself. Each ripple is small, deliberate, a whisper of continuity. In the village, homes are silent. The fires have cooled to embers, and shadows rest long across walls and pathways. Even the smallest creatures move carefully, scarcely audible, as if all of life has slowed in respect for the night. Inside one home, a woman lies awake on her mat. Her eyes are open just enough to see the faint glow from the hearth. She breathes slowly, deliberately, letting her awareness settle into the calm rhythm of the world around her. She rises quietly and walks toward the corner of the room where a small shrine rests. She places a piece of bread, a vessel of water, and a tiny carved figurine with care, adjusting each item gently. She whispers softly, names carried across generations, voices muted but clear in their meaning. These are not words of fear, they are acts of remembrance, of attention, of connection. The Nile hums in the background. The reeds bend lightly in the wind. The air is cool, carrying faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement is slow, deliberate, part of a rhythm older than any single life. In the tombs, the Ka rests beside its wrapped body. The Ba moves gently, drifting through familiar spaces, touching objects and corners it once knew. Offerings remain in place, quietly potent. Stone walls hold the air steady, unmoving, and the journey beyond life proceeds gradually, calmly, without haste. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, allowing the knowledge of life and death to settle softly within her. She does not close her eyes tightly. She does not push away thought. Instead, she breathes steadily, feeling the pulse of the river, the gentle sway of the reeds, and the quiet hum of the village all around her. The night deepens, time slows, life continues, not separate from death, but intertwined with it. Each action, each offering, each whispered name is part of a vast, patient pattern. The stars shine steadily, the river flows, the tombs remain calm, the Ba drifts, the Ka waits, the village rests.
Every sound, every small motion, every faint reflection of light carries presence. The world moves softly, patiently, deliberately. Life, death, and memory exist together in quiet balance. And as the night stretches on, the rhythm continues, slow, steady, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch further. The river hums quietly, the village breathes in unhurried calm. And somewhere, beyond sight, beyond sound, the ancient understanding of life and death flows onward, patient, gentle, and eternal, like the soft, unbroken movement of the Nile itself.
The night lingers, long and unhurried, its darkness deep and soft, like a heavy blanket over the village and the river. The stars remain steady, distant and quiet, their faint light reflecting gently on the slow, dark surface of the Nile. Each ripple of the river moves deliberately, endlessly, carrying the quiet weight of life, of memory, and of time itself. The current hums softly, a sound so gentle that it almost blends with the breath of the earth. Inside the village, homes are still. Fires have dimmed to soft embers, sending only faint trails of smoke into the cool night air. Children lie in quiet sleep. Adults rest, awake but calm, their breathing even and unhurried. Small animals curl in corners or beneath the sheltering walls, moving only when necessary, blending with the rhythm of the night. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly and steps toward the small shrine he tends each night. He places a small loaf of bread carefully on the stone surface. A vessel of water is set beside it. A carved figurine, worn smooth by hands across generations, is adjusted gently so it leans just so against the wall. Each movement is deliberate, quiet, necessary. He whispers names softly, letting them float gently into the cool night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names that carry memory, intention, and connection. Each word is small, soft, careful. It is not spoken out of fear, but out of respect, love, and awareness. Outside, the reeds bend slightly in the soft wind. Their rustling mixes with the faint hum of the river. The air carries the smell of earth and water, mingled with the remnants of cooling clay from nearby homes. Everything moves in a slow, deliberate rhythm, quiet and steady. In the tombs, the Ka rests beside the wrapped body. The Ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, brushing past offerings, pausing briefly at familiar corners before returning to the tomb. Stone walls hold the air still and cool. Offerings lie untouched but potent, carrying nourishment and memory into the unseen journey. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly. He does not close his eyes tightly. He does not push away thought. He breathes deeply, evenly, letting the quiet understanding of life and death settle within him. Time passes differently here, not hurried, not abrupt, not sudden, but steady, deliberate, continuous. Life and death are intertwined. Each act, each movement, each whispered name, each offering contributes to a rhythm that spans generations. The stars shine softly above. The river flows steadily. The tombs remain quiet. Offerings wait. The Ba drifts. The Ka rests. The village sleeps. Every movement, every sound, every faint reflection of light carries calm and presence. The world moves slowly, patiently, and deliberately. Life, death, and memory exist together in balance. And as the night continues, the rhythm stretches on, gentle, endless, eternal.
The air cools further. Shadows lengthen and blend. The river hums softly. The village breathes in quiet harmony. And somewhere, unseen and beyond perception, the ancient understanding of life, memory, and careful preparation flows onward, steadily, gently, eternally, like the timeless, unbroken course of the Nile.
The night has settled fully over the land. Its darkness is deep, velvety, and soft, wrapping the village and the river in a quiet stillness that feels almost eternal. Above, the stars glimmer faintly, steady and patient, scattered across the vast sky. Their light touches the surface of the Nile in soft, trembling reflections, tracing slow, wavering lines on the water. The river moves gently, continuously, carrying with it the calm weight of life and memory. Its flow is unhurried, unbroken, steady as the passage of generations. In the village, homes are quiet. Fires glow faintly, sending thin wisps of smoke upward, barely moving in the still air. Children lie asleep on mats, breathing evenly. Adults rest in silence, their minds wandering softly through memory, reflection, and the gentle awareness of life's rhythm. Small animals curl up in corners or beneath low walls, moving only when necessary, blending seamlessly with the calm of the night. A woman rises slowly, careful not to disturb the quiet around her. She walks lightly toward the small shrine tucked into a corner of her home. She carries a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. She sets them down gently, arranging each item with care. A small figurine, smoothed by the touch of generations, leans against the wall, steady and familiar. She whispers names softly, names of those who have passed, ancestors whose memory continues to guide and protect. Each word is slow, deliberate, gentle. It is not fear that motivates her, but attention, care, and connection. She speaks, and the air carries the sound lightly into the night, across the village, over the river. Outside, the reeds bend in the faint breeze. Their soft rustling blends with the river's low hum, creating a delicate, continuous melody. The air carries the faint scent of earth, water, and the residue of clay and bread from earlier in the day. Everything moves slowly, deliberately, harmonizing with the rhythm of life and the quiet journey beyond. In the tombs, the ka remains steady beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, touching familiar spaces, pausing at corners and objects it once knew, before returning gently to the tomb. Offerings remain in place, potent in their stillness. Stone walls hold the air cool and constant, and the passage beyond life continues quietly, deliberately, patiently. The woman returns to her mat and lies down slowly. She breathes deeply and evenly, letting the awareness of life and death settle softly within her. She does not close her eyes tightly, nor does she force her mind to rest. She allows thought and reflection to drift, gentle and calm, as the river outside flows without hurry. Time passes differently here, not suddenly, not abruptly, but steadily, patiently, eternally. Life and death are intertwined, inseparable, balanced. Each action, every offering, every whispered name, every careful motion forms part of a larger rhythm that spans generations and continues beyond the living world. The stars remain above, the river flows, the tombs lie quiet, offerings wait, the ba drifts, the ka rests, the village sleeps.
Every sound, every movement, every faint reflection of light carries quiet presence. The world moves softly, patiently, deliberately. Life, death, and memory exist together, balanced and eternal. And as the night stretches on, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, endless. The air grows cooler, shadows deepen and stretch. The river hums quietly. The village breathes slowly in calm harmony. And somewhere, unseen and infinite, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, gentle, patient, and eternal, like the unbroken course of the Nile itself.
The night stretches further, deeper now, with a quiet that feels almost sacred. The village rests entirely, the earth heavy with stillness, and the river flows softly, its surface catching the faintest traces of starlight. Above, the sky holds a scattered pattern of stars, each one steady, unmoving in its place. Their faint light glimmers on the slow-moving water of the Nile, drawing gentle, wavering lines that ripple quietly with the current. The river hums softly, a sound so subtle that it blends with the night itself, carrying life, memory, and the steady passage of time. Inside the homes, all is calm. Fires glow faintly, the last embers glowing as if remembering the day. Children lie asleep, breathing in soft, even rhythms. Adults rest quietly, their thoughts moving slowly, gently, as though carried on the river's unhurried flow. Small animals sleep in corners and under walls, their soft breathing part of the night's gentle music. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly, feeling the cool night air on his skin. His movements are careful, deliberate, unhurried. He walks softly to the small shrine he maintains each night. He sets a loaf of bread down with precision. A vessel of water is placed beside it. A figurine, smoothed and worn by the hands of generations, rests against the wall. Each motion is deliberate, measured, respectful. He whispers names softly, names of ancestors, of those who have passed, of those who once walked these same paths. The words float into the night like soft breath. They are not words of fear, nor of despair. They are words of memory, of connection, of care. Outside, the reeds sway lightly in the night breeze. Their rustle joins with the quiet hum of the river, creating a faint, soothing melody. The air carries a mixture of scents, damp earth, river water, and the lingering aroma of baked bread. Everything moves slowly, deliberately, in harmony with the rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests near the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing at familiar corners and objects before returning to the tomb. Offerings lie untouched but potent. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, unchanged. The unseen journey continues gradually, deliberately, without urgency. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly, breathing in the calm, feeling the slow pulse of life around him, the soft movement of the river, the gentle sway of the reeds, the quiet hum of the village. He does not resist thought, nor does he push it away. He allows the awareness of life and death to settle softly, deeply within him. Time flows differently here, not sudden, not hurried, but steady, patient, eternal. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small action, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a larger, ongoing rhythm that carries forward across generations.
The stars shine steadily above. The river flows. The tombs remain still. Offerings lie quietly. The ba drifts. The ka rests. The village sleeps. Every movement, every sound, every faint reflection of light carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet balance. And as the night deepens, the rhythm of life continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air cools further. Shadows lengthen and blend. The river hums softly. The village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere beyond sight, beyond perception, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, calm, gentle, and eternal, like the unending, steady flow of the Nile itself.
The night continues its gentle, unhurried passage. Darkness stretches over the village, the river, and the distant fields, settling softly like a slow, protective breath across the land. The stars hang quietly in the sky, their pale light steady and patient. They scatter reflections across the Nile, moving with the gentle ripples of the water. The river flows steadily, endlessly, carrying life, memory, and the quiet weight of time. Its current is subtle but constant, a rhythm that mirrors the calm heartbeat of the village. Within the homes, life is at rest. Fires glow softly, their embers sending faint trails of smoke upward into the still night air. Children lie quietly on mats, breathing evenly, untroubled. Adults rest nearby, awake in stillness or asleep in soft, unhurried slumber. Even the smallest creatures, cats, birds, dogs, settle in shadows and corners, their breathing slow and measured. A woman rises gently from her mat. She moves softly, aware of the stillness around her. She walks to the corner of her home, where a small shrine rests. She carries a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. Each movement is careful and deliberate, each placement intentional. The figurine resting against the wall leans slightly, steady and familiar. She whispers names softly, letting them drift through the night air. Names of ancestors, names of the departed, names that carry memory and care. The words float lightly, neither urgent nor heavy. They are acts of remembrance, gentle threads tying life to the world beyond. Outside, the reeds bend lightly in the night breeze. Their subtle rustle blends with the quiet hum of the river, forming a slow, soothing melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every faint reflection of light follows a deliberate rhythm, calm and steady. In the tombs, the ka remains beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces once familiar, pausing gently at corners and objects before returning to the tomb. Offerings lie still but potent, carrying nourishment and memory into the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool and constant. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within her. She does not force rest. She allows thought and memory to drift gently, carried by the calm rhythm of the night. Time passes differently here. It flows steadily, deliberately, endlessly. Life and death exist together, balanced and inseparable.
Every small act, the placement of bread, the whispering of a name, the tending of offerings, is part of a larger, patient rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine above, the river flows, the tombs remain still, offerings lie quietly, the ba drifts, the ka remains, the village sleeps. Every sound, every shadow, every faint glimmer of light carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night deepens further, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch. The river hums softly, the village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere beyond sight, beyond comprehension, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, quiet, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the endless, patient flow of the Nile itself.
The night lingers, endless and serene, draping the village, the fields, and the river in a quiet, velvety darkness. Above, the stars shimmer faintly, steady and distant, their light barely brushing the surface of the slow-moving Nile. The water flows silently, carrying the weight of time, life, and memory with gentle persistence. Its movement is calm, deliberate, constant, as though the river itself understands the rhythm of generations. Within the village, homes are still. Fires glow faintly, sending thin, curling wisps of smoke into the night air. Children lie in deep sleep, their breathing soft and even. Adults rest quietly, awake or dreaming, their minds moving slowly through reflection and calm awareness. Small animals curl in corners or beneath walls, blending seamlessly into the soft rhythm of the night. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly, feeling the cool, steady air against his skin. He walks softly to the small shrine he tends every night. He places a loaf of bread gently on the stone surface. A vessel of water rests beside it. A small figurine, smoothed by generations of touch, leans carefully against the wall. Each action is deliberate, each movement steady, each placement intentional. He whispers names softly, names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names that carry memory and care. The words float lightly into the night, neither urgent nor heavy. They are acts of remembrance, gentle threads tying life to the journey beyond. Outside, the reeds sway slowly in the faint wind. Their rustle joins with the soft hum of the river, producing a subtle, soothing melody. The air carries the faint scent of earth, water, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every faint reflection of light contributes to the steady rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through familiar spaces, touching objects and corners it once knew, before returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen path. Stone walls hold the air still, cool, unchanging. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the awareness of life and death settle softly within him. He does not force rest. He does not resist thought. He allows the quiet rhythm of the night, the river, the village, and the tombs to carry him gently forward. Time passes here differently, slowly, deliberately, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined,
inseparable. Every small act, the placing of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a larger, patient rhythm, a continuity stretching across generations. The stars shine steadily above, the river flows gently, the tombs remain calm, offerings lie quietly, the ba drifts, the ka rests, the village sleeps. Every shadow, every subtle sound, every faint reflection of light carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory exist together in quiet balance. And as the night deepens still further, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch, the river hums gently, the village breathes slowly in patient harmony. And somewhere, unseen and infinite, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, quiet, gentle, unhurried, and eternal, like the timeless, steady course of the Nile itself.
The night stretches on, long and unbroken, its darkness soft, velvety, and complete. It settles over the village, the river, and the distant fields like a gentle, protective cloak. Above, the stars are steady and calm, scattered across the endless sky. Their faint light brushes the surface of the Nile in soft, trembling lines. The river flows quietly, carrying the weight of life, memory, and time. Its current is gentle, persistent, continuous, softly marking the slow, deliberate passage of generations. In the village, homes are still. Fires glow faintly, sending thin wisps of smoke into the air. Children lie in quiet slumber, breathing softly and evenly. Adults rest nearby, awake in calm reflection or asleep, their thoughts drifting in gentle, unhurried patterns. Small animals curl up in corners or beneath low walls, moving only when necessary, blending with the rhythm of the night. A woman rises slowly from her mat. She moves softly, aware of the deep stillness around her. She walks to the small shrine in the corner of her home, carrying a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. Each movement is careful, deliberate. The figurine resting against the wall leans slightly, steady and familiar, a silent witness to countless nights like this. She whispers names softly, letting them float gently into the night. Names of ancestors, of those who have passed, names that carry memory, care, and presence. These words are small and gentle, neither hurried nor heavy. They are acts of remembrance, threads connecting the living to those who have gone before. Outside, the reeds sway in the faint breeze. Their subtle rustle blends with the soft hum of the river, creating a continuous, soothing melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the faint remnants of baked bread. Everything moves slowly, deliberately, in harmony with the rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing gently at familiar corners and objects, then returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched but potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air steady and cool. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the awareness of life and death settle softly within her. She does not push away thought, nor does she force sleep. She allows the rhythm of the night, the river, the village, the tombs, to carry her gently, steadily forward. Time passes differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whispering of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a larger, patient rhythm that stretches across generations. Above, the stars remain steady and calm. The river flows steadily. The tombs lie still. Offerings wait. The Ba drifts. The Ka rests. The village sleeps. Every faint sound, every shadow, every reflection of starlight carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet balance. And as the night deepens further, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air cools, shadows stretch and blend, the river hums quietly, the village breathes slowly in calm, patient harmony. And somewhere, beyond perception, beyond sight, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night has deepened into its quietest hour, when even the wind seems to hold its breath. The stars hang still, faint and unwavering, scattered across the endless sky. Their light reaches the river in soft, broken streaks, tracing gentle, wavering patterns across the dark water. The Nile moves slowly, constantly, carrying with it the weight of life, memory, and time itself. Each ripple is small, deliberate, a whisper of continuity. In the village, homes are silent. The fires have cooled to embers, and shadows rest long across walls and pathways. Even the smallest creatures move carefully, scarcely audible, as if all of life has slowed in respect for the night. Inside one home, a woman lies awake on her mat. Her eyes are open just enough to see the faint glow from the hearth. She breathes slowly, deliberately, letting her awareness settle into the calm rhythm of the world around her. She rises quietly and walks toward the corner of the room where a small shrine rests. She places a piece of bread, a vessel of water, and a tiny carved figurine with care, adjusting each item gently. She whispers softly, names carried across generations, voices muted but clear in their meaning. These are not words of fear, they are acts of remembrance, of attention, of connection. The Nile hums in the background. The reeds bend lightly in the wind. The air is cool, carrying faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement is slow, deliberate, part of a rhythm older than any single life. In the tombs, the Ka rests beside its wrapped body. The Ba moves gently, drifting through familiar spaces, touching objects and corners it once knew. Offerings remain in place, quietly potent. Stone walls hold the air steady, unmoving, and the journey beyond life proceeds gradually, calmly, without haste. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, allowing the knowledge of life and death to settle softly within her. She does not close her eyes tightly. She does not push away thought. Instead, she breathes steadily, feeling the pulse of the river, the gentle sway of the reeds, and the quiet hum of the village all around her. The night deepens, time slows, life continues, not separate from death, but intertwined with it. Each action, each offering, each whispered name is part of a vast, patient pattern. The stars shine steadily, the river flows, the tombs remain calm, the Ba drifts, the Ka waits,
the village rests. Every sound, every small motion, every faint reflection of light carries presence. The world moves softly, patiently, deliberately. Life, death, and memory exist together in quiet balance. And as the night stretches on, the rhythm continues, slow, steady, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch further. The river hums quietly, the village breathes in unhurried calm. And somewhere, beyond sight, beyond sound, the ancient understanding of life and death flows onward, patient, gentle, and eternal, like the soft, unbroken movement of the Nile itself.
The night has grown quiet, heavier with stillness, yet light enough to reveal the faint shimmer of stars above. Darkness rests over the village, the river, and the fields, soft and unbroken, like a gentle, comforting blanket. The stars, scattered across the sky, shine faintly, steady and patient. Their light dances on the slow-moving surface of the Nile, tracing delicate, wavering patterns that ripple with the water. The river hums softly, almost imperceptibly, carrying the weight of life, memory, and the long, unhurried passage of time. Its flow is constant, subtle, reassuring. Inside the village, homes are at rest. Fires burn low, their embers glowing faintly. Children lie on mats, breathing deeply and evenly. Adults sleep or sit quietly, wrapped in calm reflection, their minds drifting slowly, gently. Even the smallest creatures, cats, birds, dogs, move only when necessary, their breathing part of the steady rhythm of the night. A woman rises slowly from her mat, careful not to disturb the calm. She walks to the small shrine in her home, carrying a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. Each movement is deliberate, careful, slow. A figurine, worn smooth by hands across generations, rests against the wall, steady and familiar. She whispers names softly, letting them float gently into the cool night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names carrying memory and care. The words are quiet, deliberate, neither rushed nor heavy. They are acts of remembrance, threads linking the living with the unseen, the remembered with the present. Outside, the reeds sway in a soft breeze. Their rustling joins the faint hum of the river, forming a gentle, continuous melody. The air carries faint scents of earth, water, and the faint remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every reflection of light is part of the steady, unhurried rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the Ka rests near the carefully wrapped body. The Ba drifts lightly, moving through familiar spaces, pausing at familiar corners, touching objects it once knew, then returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched, yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory into the unseen path beyond. Stone walls hold the air cool, constant, unmoving. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within her. She does not push away thought. She does not force sleep. She allows the rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs to carry her gently forward, slowly, calmly. Time passes differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined,
inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a larger, patient rhythm, unbroken across generations. The stars shine steadily above, the river flows, the tombs remain calm, offerings lie quietly, the ba drifts, the ka rests, the village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every soft glimmer of starlight carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet balance. And as the night stretches on, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch. The river hums quietly, the village breathes slowly in calm, patient harmony. And somewhere, beyond perception, beyond sight, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, gentle, quiet, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night has deepened further, folding the land, the river, and the village into a slow, gentle stillness. Above, the stars remain faint and patient, scattered across the sky. Their soft light glimmers across the dark surface of the Nile, tracing delicate, trembling reflections that move gently with the current. The river flows quietly, steadily, carrying with it the weight of life, memory, and the passage of time. Its movement is calm, deliberate, constant, like a quiet heartbeat that has been steady for generations. Inside the village, the homes are still. Fires glow faintly, sending thin trails of smoke into the cool night air. Children breathe softly, even and deep. Adults rest, awake or asleep, their thoughts moving slowly, gently, like leaves drifting on water. Even the smallest creatures lie curled in corners or beneath walls, part of the quiet rhythm of the night. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly, feeling the cool air brush his skin. He walks softly to the small shrine he tends each night. He sets a loaf of bread carefully on the stone surface. A vessel of water rests beside it. A figurine, worn smooth by hands across generations, leans against the wall, steady and familiar. Each action is deliberate, measured, and respectful. He whispers names softly, letting them drift into the night air. Names of ancestors, of those who have passed, names that carry memory, care, and presence. The words are quiet, slow, gentle. They are acts of remembrance, threads connecting life to the unseen world beyond. Outside, the reeds bend and sway lightly in the breeze. Their rustling blends with the faint hum of the river, forming a subtle, continuous melody. The air carries the faint scent of earth, water, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every reflection of light contributes to the slow, deliberate rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing at familiar corners and objects before returning to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory into the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, unchanging. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within him. He does not resist thought, nor does he force sleep. He allows the rhythm of the river,
the village and the tombs to carry him gently forward. Time flows differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows softly. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The Ba drifts. The Ka rests. The village sleeps. Every faint shadow, every subtle sound, every glimmer of starlight carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches further, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch, the river hums quietly, the village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere beyond sight, beyond comprehension, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, gentle, quiet, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night deepens even further. Its quiet stretches over the village, the river, and the fields, wrapping everything in a soft, unbroken stillness. Above, the stars shimmer faintly, steady and patient. Their pale light dances on the dark surface of the Nile, tracing slow, wavering reflections that ripple gently with the water. The river flows calmly, carrying life, memory, and the passage of time with deliberate steadiness. Its current hums softly, a gentle, continuous rhythm that has persisted through countless generations. Within the village, the homes are quiet. Fires glow softly, embers sending thin wisps of smoke into the night air. Children lie on mats, breathing evenly and deeply. Adults rest, awake or asleep, their thoughts drifting slowly, like leaves carried by the river. Small animals settle in corners or beneath walls, blending seamlessly with the calm of the night. A woman rises slowly from her mat, careful not to disturb the stillness. She walks to the small shrine in her home, carrying a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. Each motion is deliberate, measured, unhurried. A figurine, smoothed by hands over generations, leans against the wall, steady and familiar. She whispers names softly, letting them drift into the cool night air. Names of ancestors, of those who have passed. Names carrying memory, care, and presence. The words are quiet, gentle, deliberate. They are acts of remembrance, threads linking the living to the unseen world, the remembered to the present. Outside, the reeds sway softly in a faint breeze. Their rustle blends with the hum of the river, forming a slow, soothing melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every subtle reflection of light contributes to the patient rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the Ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The Ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing at familiar corners and objects before returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen path. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, and unchanged. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, breathing evenly, allowing the awareness of life and death to settle softly within her. She does not resist thought,
nor does she force sleep. She lets the gentle rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs carry her quietly forward. Time passes differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placing of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that continues across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The ba drifts. The ka rests. The village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries calm, presence, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches onward, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch. The river hums quietly. The village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere beyond sight and understanding, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, gentle, quiet, unhurried, eternal, like the steady, unbroken course of the Nile itself.
The night moves on, deeper now, folding the land, the river, and the village into a stillness that feels vast and unbroken. Above, the stars hold steady, faint and patient, scattered across the endless sky. Their light glimmers softly on the surface of the slow-moving Nile, tracing delicate, trembling lines that ripple gently with the current. The river flows quietly, endlessly, carrying life, memory, and the gentle passage of time. Its movement is calm, steady, unhurried, a rhythm that has persisted through generations like a slow, enduring heartbeat of the land. Inside the village, all is at rest. Fires glow faintly, embers sending thin trails of smoke upward into the cool night air. Children lie on mats, breathing softly and evenly. Adults rest quietly, awake or asleep, their thoughts drifting slowly, gently, like leaves carried on the river. Even the smallest creatures, cats, birds, dogs, remain curled in corners or beneath walls, part of the soft, patient rhythm of the night. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly and moves carefully toward the small shrine he tends each night. He places a loaf of bread gently on the stone surface. A vessel of water rests beside it. A small figurine, worn smooth by hands across generations, leans against the wall. Each action is deliberate, measured, and careful. He whispers names softly, letting them float into the cool night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names carrying memory and care. The words are quiet, gentle, slow. They are acts of remembrance, threads connecting life to the unseen world beyond. Outside, the reeds sway in the faint night breeze. Their soft rustling blends with the subtle hum of the river, creating a continuous, soothing melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every movement, every sound, every reflection of light contributes to the slow, deliberate rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through familiar spaces, pausing gently at familiar corners, touching objects it once knew, then returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings lie untouched, yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, and unchanged. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly, breathing evenly,
letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within him. He does not resist thought, nor does he force sleep. He allows the rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs to carry him gently forward, softly, steadily. Time passes here differently, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows gently. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The bar drifts. The car rests. The village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries calm, presence, and continuity. Life, death, and memory exist together in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches onward, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch, the river hums quietly, the village breathes slowly, patiently, and somewhere, beyond perception, beyond sight, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night continues its quiet passage, stretching across the village, the river, and the distant fields. Darkness is soft and complete, like a velvet cloak that drapes over every surface, every home, every shadowed corner. Above, the stars remain steady, faint, and patient. Their light glimmers softly on the surface of the Nile, tracing delicate, trembling lines that move with the water. The river flows quietly, endlessly, carrying life, memory, and the gentle rhythm of time. Its current is calm, deliberate, unhurried, a quiet heartbeat of the land, steady and constant across generations. Inside the village, all is still. Fires glow faintly, embers sending thin trails of smoke upward into the cool night air. Children lie in soft, deep sleep. Adults rest quietly, awake or dreaming, their thoughts moving slowly, gently, like leaves drifting on the river's surface. Even the smallest creatures, cats, birds, dogs, remain curled in corners or beneath walls, part of the gentle rhythm of the night. A woman rises slowly from her mat. She moves carefully, aware of the stillness surrounding her. She walks to the small shrine in the corner of her home, carrying a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. Each movement is deliberate, measured, unhurried. A figurine, worn smooth by hands over generations, rests against the wall, steady and familiar. She whispers names softly, letting them drift gently into the night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names carrying memory and care. The words are quiet, slow, gentle. They are acts of remembrance, threads linking the living to the unseen, the remembered to the present. Outside, the reeds sway in the faint night breeze. Their rustling blends with the soft hum of the river, creating a slow, continuous melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every movement, every sound, every reflection of light contributes to the steady, unhurried rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing at familiar corners, touching objects it once knew, then returning quietly to the tomb.
Offerings remain untouched but potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, unchanged. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within her. She does not push away thought, nor does she force sleep. She allows the rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs to carry her gently forward, softly, steadily. Time passes differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placing of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows softly. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The Ba drifts. The Ka rests. The village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches onward, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch. The river hums quietly. The village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere, beyond perception, beyond sight, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night drifts onward, quiet and unbroken, stretching across the land, the river, and the village with a softness that seems almost tangible. Above, the stars remain steady, faint yet patient. Their light touches the calm surface of the Nile, tracing faint, trembling reflections that move gently with the current. The river flows slowly, carrying life, memory, and the subtle rhythm of time. Its movement is calm, deliberate, unhurried, a pulse that has persisted for generations, steady and enduring. Within the village, all is still. Fires glow softly, sending thin threads of smoke upward into the cool night air. Children lie on mats, breathing deeply and evenly. Adults rest quietly, awake or asleep, their thoughts moving gently, slowly, like the leaves that float along the river. Small animals curl in corners or beneath walls, their breathing a quiet part of the night's rhythm. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly and moves softly toward the small shrine he tends each night. He places a loaf of bread gently on the stone surface. A vessel of water rests beside it. A figurine, smoothed by hands over countless generations, leans against the wall. Each action is deliberate, measured, and calm. He whispers names softly, letting them drift into the cool night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names that carry memory and care. The words are gentle, quiet, and steady. They are acts of remembrance, threads linking the living to the unseen world beyond, connecting generations across time. Outside, the reeds sway in the faint night breeze. Their soft rustle blends with the gentle hum of the river, forming a slow, continuous melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every movement, every sound, every subtle reflection of light contributes to the calm, deliberate rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the Ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The Ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew,
pausing at familiar corners and objects before returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, and constant. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly, breathing evenly, allowing the quiet awareness of life and death to settle softly within him. He does not resist thought, nor does he force sleep. He allows the rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs to carry him gently forward, softly, steadily. Time flows differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows softly. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The Ba drifts. The Ka rests. The village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches onward, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler. Shadows blend and stretch. The river hums quietly. The village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere beyond sight and perception, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night lingers, long and slow, stretching across the fields, the river, and the village. Darkness settles gently over everything, soft and unbroken, like a warm, protective cloak draped over the land. Above, the stars remain faint but steady, scattered across the endless sky. Their soft light brushes the calm surface of the Nile, tracing delicate reflections that ripple gently with the water. The river flows quietly, steadily, carrying life, memory, and the subtle, unhurried rhythm of time. Its current moves like a slow heartbeat, patient and enduring, marking the passage of generations. Inside the village, the homes are still. Fires glow softly, embers rising in thin, curling threads into the night air. Children lie on mats, breathing evenly, deeply. Adults rest quietly, awake or dreaming, their thoughts moving slowly, gently, like leaves drifting on the river. Small animals curl in corners or beneath walls, blending seamlessly with the rhythm of the night. A woman rises slowly from her mat. She moves softly, aware of the stillness around her. She walks to the small shrine in her home, carrying a loaf of bread and a vessel of water. Each motion is deliberate, measured, unhurried. A figurine, worn smooth by hands over generations, leans against the wall, steady and familiar. She whispers names softly, letting them drift gently into the cool night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names carrying memory, care, and presence. The words are quiet, gentle, deliberate. They are acts of remembrance, threads connecting the living to the unseen, the remembered to the present. Outside, the reeds sway in the faint night breeze. Their rustling blends with the soft hum of the river, forming a slow, continuous melody. The air carries faint scents of water, earth, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every reflection of light contributes to the steady, patient rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the Ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The Ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing at familiar corners, touching objects it once knew, then returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched, yet potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, unchanged. The woman returns to her mat. She lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within her. She does not resist thought, nor does she force sleep. She allows the rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs to carry her gently forward, softly, steadily. Time passes differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows softly. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The Ba drifts. The Ka rests. The village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries presence, calm, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches onward, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler. Shadows blend and stretch. The river hums quietly. The village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere, beyond sight, beyond thought, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself.
The night drifts slowly, stretching across the fields, the village, and the flowing river, soft and unbroken, like a gentle veil covering everything beneath it. Above, the stars remain faint yet steadfast, scattered across the sky in a quiet, patient rhythm. Their pale light glimmers on the surface of the Nile, forming slow, trembling reflections that move gently with the water. The river flows softly, endlessly, carrying life, memory, and the subtle, unhurried rhythm of time. Its current hums quietly, a steady pulse that has persisted for generations, calm, deliberate, eternal. Within the village, all is still. Fires glow faintly, embers rising in thin curls into the cool night air. Children lie on mats, breathing deeply, evenly. Adults rest quietly, awake or dreaming, their thoughts drifting slowly, like leaves carried along the river's surface. Small creatures, cats, birds, dogs, remain curled in corners or beneath walls, part of the calm rhythm of the night. A man rises slowly from his mat. He stretches lightly, feeling the cool air brush his skin. He moves softly toward the small shrine he tends each night. He places a loaf of bread gently on the stone surface. A vessel of water rests beside it. A small figurine, smoothed by the hands of generations, leans against the wall, steady and familiar. Each movement is deliberate, careful, measured. He whispers names softly, letting them drift into the night air. Names of ancestors, names of those who have passed, names carrying memory, care, and quiet presence. The words are gentle, slow, unhurried. They are acts of remembrance, threads connecting the living to the unseen, the remembered to the present. Outside, the reeds sway in the faint breeze.
Their rustling blends with the soft hum of the river, forming a continuous, soothing melody. The air carries faint scents of earth, water, and the remnants of baked bread. Every sound, every movement, every reflection of light contributes to the slow, deliberate rhythm of life and death. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through spaces it once knew, pausing at familiar corners and objects before returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings remain untouched but potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, and unchanged. The man returns to his mat. He lies down slowly, breathing evenly, letting the quiet awareness of life and death settle softly within him. He does not resist thought, nor does he force sleep. He allows the rhythm of the river, the village, and the tombs to carry him gently forward, softly, steadily. Time flows differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name, the careful tending of offerings, is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above. The river flows softly. The tombs remain calm. Offerings lie quietly. The ba drifts. The ka rests. The village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries calm, presence, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night stretches onward, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler. Shadows blend and stretch. The river hums quietly. The village breathes slowly, patiently. And somewhere, beyond sight, beyond thought, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the patient, endless Nile itself.
The night stretches quietly, folding the village, the river, and the distant fields into a gentle, unbroken stillness. Above, the stars remain faint and steady, scattered across the endless sky. Their soft light brushes the calm surface of the Nile, tracing delicate reflections that ripple gently with the water. The river flows softly, endlessly, carrying life, memory, and the quiet rhythm of time. Its current hums quietly, calm and deliberate, eternal. Within the village, homes are still. Fires glow faintly, sending thin wisps of smoke into the cool air. Children lie on mats, breathing evenly and deeply. Adults rest quietly, their thoughts moving slowly, gently, like leaves drifting on the river. Small animals curl in corners or beneath walls, part of the quiet rhythm of the night. In the tombs, the ka rests beside the carefully wrapped body. The ba drifts lightly, moving through familiar spaces, pausing gently at familiar corners, touching objects it once knew, then returning quietly to the tomb. Offerings lie untouched but potent, carrying nourishment and memory along the unseen journey. Stone walls hold the air cool, steady, unchanging. Time flows differently here, slowly, deliberately, patiently, eternally. Life and death exist together, intertwined, inseparable. Every small act, the placement of bread, the whisper of a name,
The careful tending of offerings is part of a patient, unbroken rhythm that stretches across generations. The stars shine steadily above, the river flows softly, the tombs remain calm, offerings lie quietly, the ba drifts, the ka rests, the village sleeps. Every shadow, every faint sound, every glimmer of starlight carries calm, presence, and continuity. Life, death, and memory coexist in quiet harmony. And as the night deepens, the rhythm continues, soft, steady, unbroken, eternal. The air grows cooler, shadows blend and stretch, the river hums quietly, the village breathes slowly, patiently. Somewhere beyond sight, beyond thought, the ancient understanding of life, death, and careful preparation flows onward, soft, gentle, unhurried, eternal, like the patient, endless course of the Nile itself. And there, in that quiet, timeless current, the story fades as softly and gently as the night itself. The world is still, the river flows, the stars shine. All is at peace.